Florabella on my screen. Her smile, it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene, in the morning or the night. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow, every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power, spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong.
Battle's got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feed, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with her tree. From the mud she rises, roses from the dirt. Every comment section she lays down hurt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. From the garden green to the concrete wall, Florabella, unstoppable, nature's child. Leaves whisper secrets, she's the loudest shout. From the channel buzzing, she never backs out. Seed of strength, through seasons she grows. In the face of doubt, her spirit glows. Cameras ain't a limit, she branches out. Thorns in her crown, she wears it no doubt. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Flora's anthem, blooming under pressure. Resilient, resolving, no lesser. Florabella's reign strong and relentless. Beauty in battle, queen sure defenseless. Battle's got power, Florabella stands tall. Every drip, every drop, watch the haters fall. Channel sharp as thorns, ain't taking no mess. Scroll through her feed, feel that queen's finesse. Vines tangle tight, but Flora breaks free. Roots so deep, can't mess with.
Please talk to someone else, cause I can't talk to bro boy. I can't talk to bro boy.
I can't talk to broke boys, I can't talk to broke boys. I can't talk to broke boy, no, no. I can't talk to broke boy, I can't talk to. That nigga's crazy. Hopping in, bitch, and I saw it to be. Snakes in the grass, so they harder to see. My brother would give up his life to the O. He told me he'd go be a martyr for me. Said that she ready to corner the 6. I hit up Pauline and charter the P. Ain't really leave, but I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm riding around in Atlanta with Sav, cause that nigga been going harder than me. Nothing to change, I'm just harder to please. Ferrari is making an SUV. We ain't got a choice, we ordering these. Shout out Noel for recording the V's. He know where this shit about to go. Cause nobody touching the flow. They say you alone at the top, but it's gotta be lonely below. You just getting ready to diss, but don't even mention the hoe.
Alright, guys. Welcome to the show tonight. Welcome to the show. Don't worry if you're just getting here. I will be doing long form content tonight, so we'll be live for many hours. If everybody can just do me the quick favor of hitting the like button, liking, share, subscribe, all that helps the channel. It's all I really need. So if you guys can do that on your way in. Okay, today we're going to have a conversation about family annihilators. And I know this is a very rare crime. It's not very common, right? It's not like an everyday thing where people are going to take such risks like annihilating their entire family. But we are going to talk about some of these bizarre cases, the reasoning behind it, and really get into the crux of family annihilators and what drives them. Unfortunately, we're going to find that, in my theory and my understanding, is a lot of what drives this is the ego, the superficial, wanting to have your cake and eat it too. A lot of that, right? These people who want to get rid of certain people, but they also still want the benefit of being associated with them. And so that's what we're kind of going to see here. But let's start with the curious case of Mr. Grant Amato. Mr. Grant Amato deleted his entire family. And for him, entire family meant siblings, a brother, a dad, an uncle, right? So we're not just talking about the typical, husband deletes, the entire family and then deletes himself. We're talking here in this case where he simply annihilates his family for a very diabolical reason. So if you guys have heard of the case of Amato Grant, then you'll be familiar with some of this, but we're gonna get into the case here tonight. Good evening, girl daddy. He says hit the like button as you come in. If you guys could please do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get right into the case of Grant Amato. And I think it's interesting. I want to say too, the title of this stream, sorry, that's my recommends, but the title of this stream is Detectives Realize Obsessive Son is Actually the Killer, From Simp to Murderer. Okay, so he's kind of, this creator is letting a little bit of their red pill slip out, which is just fine, right? Because we're going to get into it tonight. We're going to have the conversation, and we're going to keep it mostly focused on the crime. All right. I'm also supposed to be double streaming on Twitch, which I was told to do this when I stream on YouTube, but I'm still fumbling with it. So if you guys are coming in from Twitch, do me a favor and like that stream, however that works, and I'll be sure to take a look at it afterwards. All right, let's get right into it. Oops, sorry.
And
Okay, sorry guys, there's some technical difficulties.
this is Grant Amato, and after losing his job by illegally administering anesthetic to his patients, he would go on to spend more than $300,000 of his own family's money.
Okay, so he lost his job due to illegally administering anesthesia. Major red flag that his family was in danger already, right? He clearly wasn't in a logical state of mind.
To simp over a cam girl. It took several weeks for his parents to realize his grave actions. However, by then, it was already too late. And just like that, they had lost decades of savings to an out-of-control obsession. Grant was effectively grounded as a result. Sadly though, unhealthy minds often come with unhealthy decisions. And this unhinged and balding young man would react in the most gruesome of ways, that being murder. So, how did an intelligent and well-nurtured young man turn into an obsessive killer? What did he do to his family? And who exactly was Sylvia? Welcome back to Coffee House Crime, folks. My name is Adrian, and today we're looking at the infamous case of Grant Amato, people and their lives. And sadly, Grant very firmly fit into both of these categories, and it would cost his family their lives. By the way, I post stories like this up to 2 times a week here, so if that does sound like your kind of thing, please consider this audio story. Now, if you're watching my videos, there is a free. What's more, you can download and welcome to Seminole, folks. Now, something tells me this won't be the only time we visit this city this year, so keep your eyes peeled on that one. Anyway, the warm city of Seminole, which is home to 20,000 residents, hugs Tampa Bay. The council has a very exciting fact sheet about this place. For example, did you know that it has an elevator to do a and found Chad and central entrance fronted not residents? That peaceful silence was disturbed by a terrible tragedy. The morning of January the 25th, 2019 was much like any other. The air was brisk, and officers assigned to conduct a welfare check at that residence noted nothing unusual as they approached the Amato home. When 2 officers knocked on the front door, they were met with a deafening silence, and after finding all entrances locked and no response from the family inside, they decided to force entry into the property. Concern manifested itself into shock and horror in an instant, and that's because, after making their way inside, officers found Chad Amato in a pool of his own blood. He had been shot and was sprawled on his back on the family's kitchen floor. Next, the family's middle son, Cody, was found dead nearby, and moments later, officers also saw his mother, Margaret, sprawled on the desk of the family's office room. No surprise, she too had suffered the same fate. It appeared that the Amato family of 5 had been targeted for homicide. Whoever their assailant was had successfully murdered 3 of them, leaving only 2 of their sons behind.
Another big story tonight, a family, a mom, dad, and adult son, all murdered inside their home. And tonight, the person of interest, the other adult son, according to deputies, is no longer in custody. Deputies hunted for him last week and then told us today, after they caught him, they let him go. The family was shot to death in their home on Sultan Circle on Friday. That's in Chuliota in southeast Seminole County. News 6's Jerry Askin is live tonight at the Seminole County Sheriff's Office, working to get results for neighbors who got lots of questions and concerns tonight. Jerry?
Eric, yes, just an awful story, and like I said, it's a murder mystery, and right now we're asking deputies here in Seminole County to clarify more about who shot this mother, father, and son, leaving them all dead, and why. All as right now there's a new twist in this case, and many neighbors, as you can imagine, have lots of questions.
The discovery was terrible news to the local community, and of course, the big question on everyone's mind was, what exactly led the Amato family to such a grisly end? Neighbors and friends alike claimed that the Amatos were extraordinarily peaceful people, and that, furthermore, they had no enemies in the local or wider area. So, it was unlikely that anyone wanted them dead. But after investigating the home, detectives realized there was one person missing from that family, and that was the youngest son, Grant. Which made no sense whatsoever, because Grant was more the stay-at-home type of person. Furthermore, he should have been at home at the time the police were called out and the night prior.
And you know, here's the thing, right? I do think to some degree they created this environment for him, right? Because he made all these mistakes and they were like, yeah, you can come back, everything's fine, as long as you follow these certain rules. So it was still strict for him. You know, everyone who knew them, they knew the outside story. They didn't know what it was like inside there with him. But I think, you know, they came across cool and collected. That doesn't mean that inside of their home that things were calm.
As the hours passed by, detectives became more and more suspicious over Grant, and by nightfall, they concluded that he'd either been kidnapped or potentially was the one responsible. 2 days later, and after his car was identified near a DoubleTree hotel, it became clear that he may have had something to do with the deaths of his parents and brother. And unfortunately, those doubts were only amplified after they found him hiding inside the hotel room. As a result, officers stormed the room, but only after setting up various defense points around him. And after answering the front door, he was dragged outside and handcuffed before officers checked inside the room. Grant was polite and cooperative with officers, even suggesting that they should check his room for any weapons.
See, this is a little weird because I don't know what his end goal would have been by doing that. You know, you clearly were the one responsible. Why would you, first of all, lead them to this hotel by making moves right after all this happened? But then also by not having a story, not really nothing, just kind of being at this hotel where they'd find you. You know, there's something weird about him. I think, excuse me, maybe he thought about all this after the fact. And that kind of gives the idea that this was a second degree murder, meaning, red rum, I'm sorry, meaning where he was actually in the heat of the moment, made the decision, and then thought about it after the fact. That's what it's giving. But let's continue though.
Or lethal armory. After a check and a quick chat, he was then taken in for questioning, and the following interrogation, investigation, and eventually trial would reveal a depravity that no one thought Grant was ever possibly capable of. But first, before we get into that, let's wind the clocks back. Who precisely was Grant Amato? What happened on that fateful day back in January 2019? And what could have possibly pushed a son to the brink of such violence against his very own family? Chad and Margaret Amato lived the family dream with their 3 sons in Seminole County, Florida. Jason, Cody, and Grant, oldest to youngest in that order, were all well-mannered boys while growing up, and the family did seem to coexist peacefully. As for Chad, he was a modest, humble man who always put his family first. He was intelligent, driven, and a very quick thinker, and as a pharmacist, he was known to have a vast and comprehensive knowledge of medicine. Colleagues described him as an easygoing and pleasant man to work with. Chad was also very business and tech savvy, knowing his way around computers and personal finance. The gentleman worked hard every day for his family, and with a little bit of dedication and determination, he would eventually put away hundreds of thousands of dollars in their savings account. As for Margaret, she was a senior operations manager, and while she did excel at her job, her personality really shone through with her work outside of the office. She always cared almost to a fault, and chose to see the best in people no matter what the circumstances. This culminated in her rescuing an abandoned and abused horse named Lady in the year 2008. This was no small undertaking for her. It was obvious that previous humans had both scared and scarred the horse, but Margaret, she tried her very best to care for it. She would go on to rent a nearby stable for Lady and would visit her every single day. With patience and persistence, they slowly bonded over the years, and by the year 2018, Lady was a completely different horse. Margaret's personality was, quite simply, never short of compliments, and her kind-hearted nature, coupled with Chad's calm and collected attitude, created the perfect home for 3 boys, and together they flourished. Even Jason, who was the eldest and was born from a different marriage, got along very well with his half-siblings. As for the 2 youngest, Cody and Grant were very close over the years. Grant looked up to Cody immensely, and they were genuinely inseparable. While some older brothers can take their younger siblings for granted, find them annoying, or even bully them, Cody took his brother's admiration in his stride. The 2 shared a passion for video games, anime, and Japanese culture, and if Cody ever got into something, Grant would quickly follow in his footsteps. First it was gaming, and then it was weightlifting, and finally it was university. Now, joining the weightlifting team motivated both brothers to become health conscious, and soon enough, they decided to follow health into a career. As for the field of study, they both eventually decided on nursing. Their dual decision was met with much praise from their parents. Both Margaret and Chad were pleased that their sons had chosen a respectable career path, and both of them were very excited to see where this next chapter of their lives would take them. However, sadly, this is where a separation between those two brothers would begin. While Cody would sail through school with flying colors, Grant was not so much the academic type, and so for the very first time, he would fall behind his brother's footsteps. So, after nursing school, both Cody and Grant decided to pursue further education by studying to become anesthetists. But unfortunately, Grant could not pass one of those exams, and so eventually he would fail school altogether. Now, despite this incomplete degree, he was still able to find work within this sector, but of course, he was not making anywhere near as much money as his brother Cody. As you can imagine, this change in career path was sure to leave Grant with a rather large inferiority complex, and furthermore, it would mark the beginning of terrible confidence. It was while he was working for Advent Health.
And here's one thing I'll say, like, a lot of people don't discuss these because it's like rare, but some sibling rivalries can be very, very deadly. And it appears like the parents were very happy with them going the same route, but as soon as, one sibling, which was him, Grant, didn't do well, it was kind of like, oh, okay, he's gonna go off and do this, and his brother's gonna continue down that path. And I do think part of what might have motivated him to behave this way could have been resentment for that. He could have felt like, well, I might have not been an anesthesiologist nurse or anesthetic nurse, but I'm still in the field, and it seems like I'm not important anymore because I haven't reached that level. It does seem like there's some sibling rivalry that was going on here. Hey, Daniel Barry Sports, thank you for joining the stream. Do me a favor, guys, as you're coming in, if you can like the stream, share, subscribe, all that helps the channel. I'll appreciate it. All right, let's continue.
In Orlando that Grant made a decision that would ultimately lead to his termination. In June of 2018, Grant's co-workers found 8 empty vials of the heavy sedative propofol. It was noted that this had not been ordered by any of the working doctors in the 2 rooms that Grant was tasked with overseeing. Now, propofol, which is the drug famously known for killing Michael Jackson, is no joke. But you would be forgiven for thinking that Grant's answer was, as after being questioned, he admitted that he administered the drug to patients who seemed if they were not adequately relaxed. As a result, the hospital immediately fired him before involving the police. No surprise, but Grant was therefore arrested on the grounds of grand larceny for stealing and administering $2,000 worth of propofol. Now, thankfully, his older brother Cody, who was making a substantial income at this point, saved the day by offering to pay over $8,000 for Grant's legal fees. In the end, the charges against Grant were dropped after his brother bailed out of kindness. It would be sure to enhance facade as the underdog between the two. Despite the dropped charges, things unfortunately were not going well for him either. Without a complete degree or a clean record, no one was looking to hire him, and so, as a result,
Yeah, that's what it's giving. It was motivated by that. And it seems like you have to understand when some of these diabolical and demonic people find an excuse, they'll lean right into that. So it seems like for him, he made himself a martyr to his brother's success, right? My brother became the anesthetic. I couldn't even get my nursing license. He had to bail me out of getting arrested. I'm the underdog. That was the persona that he created in order to even victimize himself just in his relationship with his sibling, which is crazy. All right, but let's see what Grant really did, because Grant was already kind of sick before he did anything to his family, but he was obviously creating a victim narrative for himself in his head, right? Because for him to say all of this, or to even think it to a point where, oh, I'm the martyr, I'm the bad one, I didn't get to do anything because I had to, I had bad luck, or whatever he calls it. Because I do think his type is also the type to say, I had bad luck. You know, I got arrested. I got this. You don't know what it feels like. I think that's what he did to his brother. That's why his brother was like, you know what? Yep, I'll come bail you out. But he was already positioning himself to continue down his erratic behaviors. All right, let's continue.
He was forced to move back in with his parents and quickly became depressed without a plan. Being sad, lonely, and without purpose, Grant naturally gravitated back towards anime and video games to occupy his mind. Now, at the time, the year was 2018, and streaming was taking the world by storm. Legends like Summit 1G, Shroud, Dr. Disrespect, and Ninja were gaining massive traction at the time. Gaming was becoming more mainstream. Fortnite was taking off, and famous rappers and basketball players were teaming up with Twitch streamers to bring in hundreds of thousands of viewers. And amongst all of this craze, Grant was clearly taking notice. Like so many other people at the time, he decided to give it a shot himself. However, without a top-of-the-line PC, microphone, or streaming setup, he needed to somehow get some funds to get himself off the ground. Once again, his family gave him the money to get himself going, and a few $1,000s later, Grant was ready to go. However, the market was overly saturated, and Grant, he was nothing special. I mean, his gameplay was very mediocre, but his personality wasn't helping him out either. Interesting enough, gaming wasn't the only thing occupying Grant's mind. It was around this time that he became interested in a relatively famous website named MyFreeCams. MyFreeCams was an American website providing live webcam performances by models, typically featuring nudity and other saucy activities. Launched in the year 2004, over the years, MyFreeCams rose in popularity to become one of the top adult webcam communities. And according to CNBC, the most lucrative models on the site could make upwards of $100,000 a month, all of which was made by interacting with the fans that watched them. Now, although the site was American-owned, many women across the globe could be found here, including Romania, Colombia, Ukraine, Russia, and the Philippines. And Grant was immediately hooked here. For the first time in his life, he interacted with a community that seemed to pay attention to him, and one woman he was particularly attracted to went by the name of AD Sweet. Sylvia Venceslavova was a cam girl who was born in Budapest, Hungary. Often referred to as Sylvie or her cam name AD Sweet, she was at the time one of the most popular adult stars on the website. Now, Sylvia knew how to cater to her audience. In her bio, she wrote, "I am a very sensual woman, and it is the sensuality, along with my sexuality, and the sublime beauty of a shapely, athletic female body that I enjoy showing to you and the world. All of a sudden, we may find ourselves in the shower, in the bathtub, on the bed, or even on the balcony, and try to come up with the new and exciting fantasies and ways to tease, torture, and please each other. It is very important to me to share all that with you, because this is what it takes for me to really enjoy my time online. Spending time with my friends and finding new ones while I am killing you all, and you frequently are killing me in the nicest way possible." Now, I'm not so sure on the torture or the killing part, but hey, the rest sounds pretty good, I guess. Sylvia's smoldering features instantly attracted Grant. Her full lips, dark eyes, and curvy figure were perfect for his taste. She seemed classy but flirty, and it didn't take long for him to completely obsess over her. Through this website, Grant purchased tokens to pay for Sylvia and her virtual company. Every night, he would spend hours in this chat room, and would spend thousands of dollars to watch her chat, striptease, and do other things on camera. Now, anyone watching Baby Reindeer on Netflix will feel very similar vibes here, but Grant created this fake persona that he was a wealthy and successful content creator. In reality, he was far from that. Grant would also shower Sylvia with plenty of gifts and attention, which cost him eye-watering amounts of money. Honestly, this guy was totally cooked on her sex appeal. Now, remember here, but at the time, Grant was not only unemployed, but making no money whatsoever. And so, all of that money that he was funneling towards Sylvia was actually coming from his own family's bank account. Now, you may be wondering how Grant was getting away with this for so long. And quite honestly, I'm not actually sure. But he did say to his parents that apparently he was spending all of this money on his own content creation and building up that career, when in reality, all he was actually doing was spending it all simping on Sylvia. The amount of money that he was spending was absolutely insane. And by the
See, now, here's my thing, because he's using simp, right? I just don't think that it's responsible to use simp in this way, because most men aren't going to, well, let's not say most men. Most of the times, men aren't going to justify doing something of this degree, like stealing, all that. There's not gonna be a lot of room to justify a crime like this against your own family, right? And especially taking that much money and then deleting them. I just don't see that as like simp behavior. I think simp is meant to describe men who, um, encourage toxic whatever situations just in order to keep a person. But I think like even adding simp to this is like creating an angle where a simp can empower a violent woman or something like that. And it's like, no, this was just a sick dude. She never told him to delete his family. She never told him to do anything violent. This is simply what he did in order to keep up, whatever fixation that he had with that woman.
The time that his parents actually found out, he'd spent more than $200,000. The Amato family were at a complete loss for what to do with their son. Thinking that a change of scenery may do well for him, they sent Grant off to live with his aunt while they figured out what they could do to help him out of this dark hole. But the problem is, Grant was not about to let his parents intervene and stop him from seeing Sylvia. Much like a 6-year-old child, it didn't take long for him to find and get a hold of his aunt's credit card. And unfortunately, she wouldn't realize until after he'd spent more than $2,000 on her account. Soon enough, after having a very pissed off auntie, Grant was shipped off back home. By now, it was clear that he was suffering from a severe form of addiction. He would do whatever it took to relieve small and brief transactional validation from a woman who didn't even know his name. This was regardless of the cost to his family, to those very people who raised, nurtured, and supported him throughout his life. The young man-child simply didn't care, and he would do whatever was necessary to ensure he didn't lose Sylvia. After moving back home, his father had some very simple and basic but concrete demands. If Grant was allowed to be back inside, he would have to follow a very strict set of rules. Outlined in a handwritten document, these guidelines were: Grant was to find a job, pay back all loans and stolen money, totaling over $320,000, and formally apologize to his family. He was to start therapy immediately, and under no circumstances was the family to give him any more money. Alongside these demands was a checklist that would result in him being kicked out of the house if any of the following steps were broken.
See, all of this is cute, right? And I get it. You're successful people who have a child and you feel like you have to deal with him in this sort of, calculated way to cover your bases. But what they needed to do at this point, and I'm not victim blaming, unfortunately, what most people need to do when their family is presenting this way, lack of empathy, have their own obsessions, that's all they're worried about, you need to get extra help, intervene, have somebody else intervene. Just because you're related to somebody doesn't mean that that person is allowed to take you down, break you down, murder, red rum you because of what they're going through. They should have sought out extra help. This man was showing a reckless disregard for people. Okay, he hadn't gotten violent yet, from what we know. But when you're showing this much reckless disregard for people, yes, they should have got outside help. Not just tell him, oh, you have to, just like addiction, you can't just tell somebody you have to stop smoking, you gotta stop, sniffing cocaine, you gotta stop injecting. No, you need to get them the actual help. Yeah, exactly, Charles. I'm surprised they even let him in. 320,000 is beyond crazy. Yeah, that amount of money, you don't play around. Like, yeah, that's your family, but if they're willing to do you like that, you need to intervene, get them some help. Get them some help. Don't just think you can negotiate with them. You already see that the addiction is taking them over. Get professional help. Had they gotten a third party involved in this, and that third party been like, hey, we're taking you to this rehab, your family said they're going to help you and take care of you, but we're taking you to this rehab. No, they tried to negotiate with him like this was some business. You cannot negotiate with terrorists.
And these steps included any new theft, watching porn, talking to Sylvia, leaving or locking the house, getting arrested, committing any crimes, or, last and most importantly, abusing the family. Emotions, love, trust, or physical. This man, after not only providing for his family for his entire life, but also saving money and helping them through their education and beyond, was putting his last effort into his extraordinarily dysfunctional son. The guidelines ended with one paragraph, detailing what would happen if Grant betrayed his father's trust or broke any of the rules. You will be arrested, sit in jail with no bail, public defender, no paid attorney, you will serve a prison term or parole, and reside in a shelter or homeless shelter. You will never be allowed back into the family. The document ended with a final, no key to the house until further notice. Now, admittedly, this document may seem severe or even draconian at first glance. However, let's not forget what it took to get here. Before Grant was allowed to move back in, he was enrolled into a rehabilitation clinic to help manage his porn and spending addictions, costing the family a further $15,000. During this time, Chad took it upon himself to contact Sylvia. Quite nobly, he didn't want any reimbursement from her. Chad simply wanted to set the record straight and have his son helped. He further highlighted to Sylvia that his son was not a wealthy gamer and had no massive online following. The only thing he was doing was stealing money and harming the family. Once Grant returned home from the clinic, things did seem to be going well, at least for the first few days. I mean, sure, there was tension in the air, but none of those rules had been broken. Tragically, though, this was all about to change. You see, Grant's mother was always the sympathetic type, and she could clearly see how much her son was emotionally struggling. And so, in a moment of weakness, she gave him her phone so he could contact Sylvia on Twitter. However, this was not okay in Chad's books. He had very strict boundaries to maintain, and if he ever let them get encroached, he would be setting a bad example for him and the rest of the family. And so, with that in mind, he kicked Grant out of the property. The news devastated Grant. Yes, he had abused the love and support provided by his family, but he simply could not fathom this loss whatsoever. And now, without a home or any money, what was he possibly going to do? Now, it's safe to say that Grant had become a regular offender of bad decisions, but tragically, he was yet to make the worst one of his life. The morning of January the 4th, 2019 began like any other. The Amato household was quiet, and both Chad and Cody were out for work for the day, while Margaret worked from home. Tragically, all peace would be obliterated in an instant. Outside of the residence, a hooded man stood watch, waiting to invade, and that man was Grant. With the home unlocked, he entered his family's house, before silently making his way to his mother's office, where he knew she was working. Before she could even react, Grant mercilessly shot her in the back of the head with a pistol. Just like that, he was now a cold-blooded killer, a murderous recluse who assassinated his very own family member. And he was not about to stop there either. He waited for his father to come home. After returning home, Chad walked into the kitchen to be greeted by his son. That is when he was shot twice, dying immediately on impact. Grant then picked up his father's phone and messaged Cody, telling him to come home early from his nursing shift due to an emergency. Just like his father, Cody arrived to be greeted by Grant with a gun. He too was shot by his brother, being left collapsed on the floor. Before leaving the house,
And that's the diabolical part, right? His brother really tried to help him, from what it appears, right? His brother, despite what he was displaying, wanted to be there for him, bailed him out of jail, even when he wasn't able to get his license. There was really no reason for him to feel this way. But because he was being driven by his addictions and ego, he didn't care about that connection he had to his sibling. Let's continue.
Grant then attempted to make the crime scene appear as a murder-suicide, placing the gun near his brother's body as if he was the murderous monster. He then left them alone in the cold, dark home. The following day, on the 25th, Cody failed to show up for work, an unusual occurrence for someone who was usually so reliably punctual. With no response, his colleagues alerted the authorities, asking them to conduct a welfare check. When the police arrived at 9:17 in the morning, there was no answer from the Amato family. And of course, as we know, upon entry, they discovered the lifeless bodies of Chad, Margaret, and Cody. Following this terrible discovery, Grant was eventually found and apprehended 2 days later at the nearby Doubletree Hotel. In a state of evident confusion, he agreed to go down to the police station for questioning. Throughout the interrogation, he maintained his innocence, and even claimed that he was unaware of what happened to his family. Grant's interview with officers highlighted.
And that's really bizarre, considering their involvement in his life, especially more recently with stealing from them and from the aunt, and kind of funding this Russian or Romanian whatever prostitute online. Hey Terrence, TWI says, good evening. Something about this case, right? Because this is a family annihilation, but this is somebody who's not like deleting a spouse. He's deleting his family, people who he's related to, who he grew up with, who raised him. And regardless of the fact that he did not become a nurse, this was people who were still actively involved in his life. So to see that he kind of went to these lengths is a little disturbing. Let's continue though, because I really still don't like the framing of him as like a simp to a murderer. Like this is beyond simping. Like this is just addiction, straight up substance use. Like how substance use and addiction all goes together and can really affect somebody's mindset. That's all that is. But to say simp, like that has nothing to do with what's really going on here. So that's kind of what
Some
threw me
very
off from the title. But let's continue.
concerning details. It was learned that on the night prior to the murders, he and his father had a long argument together. Throughout the interview, Grant would eventually reveal that the main reason his relationship had broken down with his family is due to his obsession with Sylvia, an obsession that cost them more than $300,000. He also revealed that the main reason he was kicked out of the property is because he failed to abide by some rather basic rules. Of course, this creating a giant rift between the family. Now, despite giving away these extraordinarily crucial details, Grant still stuck to his story and said that he was innocent. He claimed that after he was kicked out of the house, he never returned to the property, and that furthermore, he had no idea that his family had died until after officers had found him. Throughout the interview, Grant never once inquired about his family. This was an immediate red flag to detectives, and they had an inkling that maybe much more was going on beneath the surface. Interesting enough, but when asked what he thought happened to his family, Grant suggested that maybe Cody had killed both of his parents before himself, which, as we know, seemed to fit the framed cover-up quite perfectly. Even after being shown pictures of his dead family, Grant still denied his involvement. Detectives pressed him further, telling him that they had fingerprints, found the murder weapon, and had even found surveillance footage placing him at the crime scene. But Grant didn't seem moved by this in the slightest. As a last-ditch effort, detectives brought Grant's older half-brother, Jason, in to coax a confession out of him. But despite his very best efforts, the man wouldn't budge.
Alright, so I take it you know what happened. Yeah. I'm going to ask you plain out. You are not part of it anyway. No. I don't know. I want to believe you, Grant, but you're the last person that I could put in that house. And I know what happened over the last 6 months. I can understand the troubles that you've gone through, but it's hard for me to think that you would break to this point. Mm-hmm. But who else can I blame? How are we going to find out who did this? I love you more than anything in this world, just like I loved Cody, Grant, and Dad. I know Dad was an asshole. I know Cody was an asshole. But they were our family, and they would have never done anything to hurt us. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. And I probably will have resentment for the rest of my life, whether you did it or you didn't do it, but I need closure. I need to know what happened to my mother, my father, and my brother Cody. Because I wasn't there to fucking help. And that hurts me. That hurts me a lot, man. I may not have been able to stop you. You probably may have hurt me too. But at least I would have known what happened. And now I'm in fucking who knows what now. I'm lost. And it scares me that you want to leave here and not face what happened. Because you're putting my life at risk then. You're putting Donna's life at risk, Grandma's life. How do we know what you're going to do?
Both brothers shared an emotional hug before Jason was eventually taken out of the room. Shortly after that, Grant himself was then let go and allowed to walk out of the police station as a free man. However, as detectives began to investigate into the case further, they realized that Grant's story did not match all of the cold facts. Furthermore, he was still withdrawing cash from his family's bank account and talking to Sylvia. And so, 2 days later, and back at the hotel where he was being watched, officers finally arrested Grant on charges of first-degree murder. His bond was then posted at $750,000. 2 months later, on July the 15th, 2019, his trial was officially underway. The prosecution opened their argument by breaking down Grant's obsession with Sylvia and his motivation for murdering his family. When his parents found out about his relationship with Sylvie and the tremendous amounts of money he was spending on her, they contacted her and effectively ended the relationship for him. Grant was furious with his family for ending his world, and as we know, his blind obsession with Sylvie led him to murder all 3 of them in cold blood. They also spent considerable time highlighting the many inconsistencies in the crime scene. It wouldn't take long for crime scene analysts to conclude that Grant had staged the entire thing. For example, the holster placed on his father's hip was for someone with a dominant hand opposite of Chad's. Sickeningly, they would also conclude that Grant had used his dead father's finger to open his phone and then wire money to himself.
First of all, that is just diabolical, right? There's a lot of details here that prove that he is a pathological, just kind of sick individual, right? Um, Gito says, guilty, guilty, guilty. Look at that hairline, guilty AF. He did that shit. I don't know what the story is, but he is guilty as F. Yeah, this man essentially, deleted his whole family for a webcam model. And a lot of times it's easy to say, oh, that woman, they didn't ask her for the money back. That woman is being trafficked. She works for somebody else. Whether she gets a check or she logs on under her own free will, she's being trafficked. She has a boss. You're seeing her because there's people who are pushing her out there, men and women alike. Obviously, we're seeing that these days. But that's what's causing him to do this to his family, and it's very wicked. It's incredibly wicked to me that is what is motivating him is some weird cam model. And that's the thing with these annihilators, these people who are willing to take out generations of families for whatever guilty, egotistical, selfish reasons that they have. It's incredibly disturbing. Let's continue though. There's only a few minutes left in this one. Then we're going to move on to the next case that we'll be discussing tonight.
So he could keep talking to Sylvie. However, on the other hand, Grant's defense team argued that there was no evidence that placed him at the crime scene. They also criticized the detectives who interviewed Grant for lying about the evidence they had against him. And as for using his older brother as a way to manipulate a confession out of him, well, apparently that was just dirty. In the end, Jason would emotionally testify against his brother. He spoke of the pain that Grant caused the entire family, and how his callous attitude and unstoppable addiction resulted in the destruction of the Amatos. No surprise, this entire case was a slam dunk in court, and Grant was found guilty on all 3 counts of murder and therefore sentenced to life for each. Now, the death penalty was sought against Grant for his heinous crimes. However, the jury did not grant it. Instead, he was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The Amato family truly were living the American dream. And despite their youngest son's troubles, they were successful and kind and prioritized their family. And even when pushed to their limits, they still did everything they could to help Grant get the help he needed.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that they ended up facing this terrible fate for choosing to raise their son. It definitely sucks. Yeah, he was not thinking, Gino. Hey Joshua, how are you tonight? How you doing? Thank you for joining the show. We're doing crime tonight, so it's pretty early in the stream. This is the first case that we've talked about so far. The case of Grant Amato. He deleted his mom, dad, brother, and I believe an aunt. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4 people. But he deleted them because they no longer wanted to be robbed by him to pay a cam model. Right? And so we're talking about family annihilators tonight. And so hopefully you guys are here for the show. We're going to get into the next case. This case was incredibly disturbing. When it came out, it was coined the case about the family next to Disneyland that was deleted by the father. It was very sad. But this is the case of Anthony Todd. So let's get into it. Jesse Weber has been around the block for a long time, so he covered this one. Let's get into that case.
Crime.
I'm wondering if somebody can do a wellness check on my brother and his family.
A federal investigation leads to a sickening discovery.
I've seen a lot of bad stuff as state attorney. This was especially horrific.
But as details emerge, the case gets complicated.
I don't know anything. I have no idea where I was, where I am.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Jesse Weber, and welcome to Prime Crime. This is where we bring federal truly
Check on my brother.
a routine arrest. They end up finding something that is truly unthinkable.
I'm wondering if somebody can do a wellness check on my brother and his family.
It's just after Christmas 2019 in Celebration, Florida. Anthony Todt, his wife Megan, along with their 3 children, 13-year-old Alec, 11-year-old Tyler, and 4-year-old Zoe, haven't been heard from in weeks.
I can't seem to get a hold of them. My sister-in-law was making a comment about, and we just kind of put together, on the nobody has talked to them.
Some about Anthony Todt leading up to this disconnect. The physical therapist was actually under surveillance by federal authorities.
What is he wanted for?
Healthcare fraud. Healthcare fraud could be overbilling or billing for services not rendered, basically fraud against Medicare or Medicaid.
It seemed pretty clear that he was in a very bad financial situation. He was trying to arrange it so his children and wife would have a lot of enjoyment. They moved 15 minutes away from Disney World. He spent a lot of money on a condominium. When that started to unravel, he knew that he would be viewed as a failure.
He was losing control in his life, losing control financially.
So the plan was we were going to do some surveillance, get some info, take our photos, see if we could find any information about where this family was.
In January 2020, armed with an arrest warrant, deputies moved in on Todt.
Tony Todd! Police! Tony, come to the door.
We knocked, no one came to the door. The door was unlocked, so we popped it open. We slowly made our way in. He was at the top of the stairs.
Tony, you coming downstairs? All right. Tony, you upstairs? Hey, come downstairs, bud. Everything's all right, man. Just stay calm.
Any children here?
I can't remember if they went to the sleepover last night.
We asked him where Megan and the children were. He said Megan was upstairs sleeping, and he also called for her. We were getting no answer.
What's your wife's name?
Megan.
Megan?
Megan.
All right, come on down, bud.
We made our way upstairs to check on the children and check on Megan. The master bedroom door was open.
Locked door.
Megan?
What officials find next is unimaginable.
I didn't see Megan because she was, the way her blanket was.
But you saw the children? Right. They're all pretty much black.
The two boys, I just saw Zoe's hair.
Okay.
But yes, the two boys are as black as this leather. There's also a dog, so just there may be another deceased.
Megan, Alec, Tyler, Zoe, and the family dog Breezy are all found dead, decomposing in an upstairs bedroom.
That is just wicked. So not only did he delete the family, but he's sitting in there with their decomposed corpses. I mean, this is just rancid. What would possess somebody to do that?
It was especially bloody. You had people who were drugged, the children were drugged with Benadryl, and then you have some brutal stabbings.
What begins as a fraud case suddenly turns into a horrifying homicide investigation.
He lived with the bodies in the condominium for about 3 weeks. During that time, according to the police, the smell of decomposition was extremely pronounced.
Tote is then taken to the hospital after he appears
Is that Dr.
disoriented.
Grande? That's Dr. Todd Grande, guys. I had no idea that he was involved in this case here. That's probably where he gets his notoriety from, but Jesus Christ. I mean, this is awful. 3 weeks sitting there with the corpses of your family. I mean, it's one thing, this man definitely didn't have empathy. I don't know what else was going on with him. We'll see what motivated this one, because I really don't know a lot about this case. But this is bizarre.
3 weeks. During that time, according to the police, the smell of decomposition was extremely pronounced.
Tote is then taken to the hospital after he appears disoriented and unstable. In fact, he said he had consumed a quantity of Benadryl pills. It's there when he speaks with police for the very first time.
Tell me what happened.
My wife is, I want to say, chronically ill. The liver issues and all that kind of stuff. And what was told to me is that when people die, they go to different aspects. And then sometimes never meet up in the light energy aspect.
He talked about how she started to adopt Eastern religions. She started getting involved in other, almost like fantastical beliefs, like medical mediums and stuff.
Friday night, it was supposed to be a three-step plan. So we all stay together and go up. You know, one person separated to the other.
The confession, well, it was a confession. There was a tremendous level of explanation going on.
Between Megan and I, we suffocated and as needed, and tried to get the aortic valve, which is deep. And we wanted to both go everybody to go very peacefully. We wanted everybody together. Okay. And that was my wife's wish, everybody together.
He would say that was essentially all a dream, that he didn't remember any of that. He was in some type of zombie state. He was looking to blame the drugs for his confession.
You murdered your 3 children.
Mm-hmm. I know.
You take full responsibility for that?
I don't want to take full responsibility. Meg was involved, but I don't take full responsibility.
Well, Megan's dead.
But is Anthony Tote the one responsible for this?
Where we're at right now is a very sad state. All 3 of your children are dead.
I know.
Your wife is dead.
I know.
You're alive.
Unfortunately.
Now, a medical medium, just like any other type of intermediary, would be somebody that's like claiming they can sort of tell when your life is going to end or something like that. So I'm assuming like a medical medium was telling them like, hey, this is a fatal illness, or hey, you can still be healed from this. That would be my perception. Now, this whole case is bizarre. Like, what he's saying doesn't really make a lot of sense, and it doesn't really add up to what they found.
What are you most upset about?
That I'm here. That I'm not with my family.
In January 2020, federal authorities show up to arrest a Connecticut man living part-time in Florida with his family over an alleged insurance scam. But their investigation leads them to a revolting discovery in the family's rental home: the decomposing bodies of Tote's wife, their 3 young children, and the family dog. Investigators now need to make sense of what exactly happened in that house. When Tote is brought in for questioning a few days later, he shares even more specifics about the killings.
My wife had started, she began watching these videos talking about the afterlife. We started researching, and then we started finding more about the world is coming to the end, the apocalyptic end, to avoid this, to all go together.
Die together.
Die together, that's correct. Because my wife's been chronically ill for a while, this really appealed to her, maybe salvation and everlasting life.
This was a guy who had perhaps some delusions, but not enough to make him not understand the difference between right and wrong.
We had sat down and talked with the boys and Zoe just on, what would happen if mommy died, how would you feel, what happened if daddy died, what would you feel? And
but so for the level of diabolicalness of this crime, for there to not be any signs of mental confusion or whatever going on, that's a sign that he really is just evil, right? He was conscious. He was aware of what exactly it was that he was doing to his family, and there's most likely going to be a reason behind it, but he wasn't mentally ill. There was nothing taking his awareness away from the fact that he was killing his family. Let's continue though.
The responses was like, we don't want you to die, we want to die with you.
According to the police, Anthony used a variety of methods, the Benadryl.
Something came on TV about cough medicine. Okay, so could they have some cough medicine that I put them to sleep, like overdose of cough medicine, just put them to sleep. It didn't work. And we said, we're just going to have to do some sort of exsanguination. Okay, bleed to death.
First, Tote goes into detail about killing 4-year-old Zoe.
She rolled and started squiggling, and I put my hand over her mouth and then put a pillow over top of her. She started to fade away, and I just held that until there was no motion left.
It's one thing to kind of mumble an answer, like, oh, I killed somebody. It's something else to give a very detailed explanation of every single homicide that occurred.
So Zoe's gone, and then what happens?
We go into Alex's room. We're just in there, just eyeing each other, just gaining the confidence. I stabbed him, and he started kicking, was trying to get up, and I reached around with my hand and held his nose in his mouth.
When it came to 11-year-old Tyler, Tote says he and Megan were afraid their son would escape.
I was able to get in and get the knife right in there. I got it. It started bleeding quite a bit. He went really, really, really quick.
This was especially horrific, and I've seen a lot of bad stuff as state attorney. But this one, you destroy an entire family.
We decided that the dog, we went the dog with us, and I was able to hold the knot in her snout and her nose closed, and she went peacefully.
Tote then says Megan wanted to die next.
Meg wanted to go. Gave her the knife, and I laid next to her, and she put the knife into her stomach. We were laying there for about 45 minutes. After she stabbed herself, she says, I feel nothing happening. So she decided to go through her liver.
She was stabbed with deep knife wounds multiple times.
With 2 hands pushed in. She pulled it out, she put the knife right next to her, and I just laid with her. It seemed like hours went by and nothing else happening. She goes, I want this ended now. She goes, I want you to take the pillowcase, put a pillow and put it over my head. She goes, if you love me, you can do this. I want to be with my babies. So I said, why don't you take some more Benadryl, so at least you're not going to fight me, and I'll do it. So then it came to me.
He was pretty efficient at killing them all. That's what he wanted to achieve, and he did it in a pretty straightforward fashion. But when he talked about ending his own life, he couldn't figure out how to do it.
We didn't get there till, Monday. What were you doing during this time frame? We're talking over 2 weeks.
Trying to kill myself. I tried the razor blade zip tie around the neck, was trying to figure out how to go through and fall on the knife in the right direction. In all honesty, I chickened out and cowered it out with a knife.
So we see kind of a disconnect there. between the methods that he used that were successful and then these alleged methods that he used that were not successful.
You've upset a lot of people. You guys seem very planned. This is very methodical. There was, other than the fact about you taking your own life, which I'm still kind of questioning.
I think the reason Anthony Todt initially confessed is because that's really where he was in life at that point. I think he had abandoned all hope.
You take full
responsibility once it's done.
Okay.
If I could commit suicide right now, I would.
Okay, well, we're not going to let you do that.
Todt is charged with the murders of his family and animal cruelty for allegedly killing the dog. But nothing is as simple as it may seem. Coming up, what Anthony Todt previously told investigators may not be the real story.
I have nothing to do but sit here and reflect. I know the story. I know what happened. I know, I've forgiven her.
Right. This is what I'm trying to understand as well, Joanne. The desire to delete your family so you could all be together was so strong. But when it comes to getting rid of your old, raggedy, fat, rancid self, now suddenly your conscience wakes up. You're deleting a 4-year-old. You're deleting your 7-year-old. You're deleting your 11-year-old. You delete your wife, and you can go through all of that without questioning. But as soon as it comes time to turn the knife on your big fat neck, now you suddenly have a conscience and you're not able to. This is what I'm saying, Empress. He thought he was going to get away just by using that weak old story. Sir, you have no empathy. This guy is probably sick mentally in the head, but not in the way that we usually see sick. Because first of all, how can you even start with a 4-year-old? I'm not saying what would be a healthy direction, but you have no empathy. You kill the 4-year-old, kill the 11-year-old. Nothing in you tells you to stop. But when it comes to turn the knife on yourself, you suddenly become a coward. I don't believe that in the slightest bit. I believe that this man wanted his family gone, and that's what he did. He had no intentions of killing himself. That's why he didn't. That's why he didn't even critically injure himself. That's why he's sitting there with that big old belly and nothing has changed physically on himself because he had no intentions of hurting himself. The people he wanted hurt and gone are right there laying. And it's crazy that this is the best that he came up with. I mean, just craziness. Guys, I'm sitting here trying not to get secondary trauma from this damn story. The fact that he started with that little pretty baby is just too much.
Did you guys celebrate Christmas Day?
No, the kids were dead before Christmas.
Connecticut man Anthony Todt is charged with the murder of his family after they were found dead and decomposing in their Celebration, Florida home in January 2020. From the start of the investigation, Todt seemed to be fully cooperating and telling officials everything that happened.
How long would you say it took to kill Alec?
That one I have no idea. It went quickly.
But later on, Todt speaks with his sister from jail. On these recorded calls, his account is radically different.
I want you to know a couple things. And I absolutely loved, honored, and obeyed Megan through everything. Because when things will come out, you should talk about it right now. Realize that, okay?
Anthony Todt's confession, I think, really hurt him. He tried to work to back away from it pretty soon after he made it.
I don't remember anything pretty much over Christmas and the first week I got here. I don't remember coming here. I don't remember anything after the events what happened. I have no idea where I was, where I am. The only thing I remember is being at the hospital.
His claim was that he was kind of out of it. He had hit his head. He didn't know what he was doing. He didn't remember the confession.
Todt tells his sister he wasn't even at home the night his family was killed, that he was actually at their nearby condo.
The night everything happened, okay, I'm going to tell you this. I went over because Zoe wanted her Mickey silver necklace for a reason, but you'll find out later. I ended up falling asleep. Let's just leave it at that, okay?
Bro,
They fell asleep.
I'm not trying to hear, he's playing on his family's emotions, but I'm not trying to hear any of that. You told the police she was the first person that you deleted. Now you were going over there to get her necklace. I mean, this man is just, everything he's doing now is after the fact. He cold, callously deleted his family. Now you're talking about, oh, I was going over there for a necklace. No, you're trying to defend what you did. This is just, I mean, he's a sick individual. And look at him. This is him after he deleted his 4-year-old, 7-year-old, 11-year-old. After he did all of that, this is him sitting his fat, stupid self there. No injuries, no nothing. He's just doing just fine. Suddenly his consciousness awoke for when it was time to delete himself. Yeah, you can't believe a damn thing his fat self says. Nothing that he says is believable. He's playing on his family's emotions like, oh no, I would never do that to my daughter. I was going to get her necklace. No, you did not care about your child in this moment. You just didn't. Let's continue.
I was supposed to wake up at 11:30. Didn't wake up the next morning. I have no idea what I told investigators because I was completely stoned. I was asleep.
He supposedly came home to his dead children and his wife who was trying to commit suicide.
I miss you guys tremendously. I miss Megan and the kids. I can't believe she did this.
When investigators first looked into the Anthony Tote case, they believed 100% that he was guilty. But of course, they had to investigate all aspects. One of those was that Megan had killed their 3 children and then had a discussion with him, hurt herself, and then killed herself with a knife. So that leaves this possibility that Megan was the killer and committed suicide.
Love is blind sometimes, and when things happen that you're not expecting.
These aren't things that we should talk about now.
I have nothing to hide, so just know that I'll protect Megan so you can live there again.
His narrative was that she essentially lost her mind, and he was trying to support her during that time, and he still wanted.
So she lost her mind, but you deleted her, the kids, admitted to making her take drugs so that she didn't fight back when you were deleting her. But you admit to doing all this, but your wife is the one who you didn't want to bring shame to and who had gone mentally insane. Yeah, very eerily similar to Chris Watts. Chris Watts, it turned out there was actually a woman behind it. I don't know what the turnout is going to be for Anthony Todd because I didn't follow this case. I found it interesting to be one to talk about because this was a very heavily cited case when talking about family annihilators similar to Chris Watts. But I don't know what the motivation is for this guy right now. All it seems is he did a cold-hearted thing. He did a wicked act. Let's continue.
To protect her, even in death, he wanted to defend her reputation.
Those that know you just want to understand.
I want to make you understand the horrors. I really do. That's funny. I enjoy any of this.
You what?
I didn't do any of this.
It's pretty unusual for a mother to kill her children. It does happen, and there have been really famous, notorious cases where it's happened.
I haven't said goodbye to them yet, so that's the first thing I'll do when I get out of here. I'm at peace with what happened, and I'm ready to tell the world my story, and tell the story of what happened, and to go home.
Up next, who really killed Megan, Alec, Tyler, Zoe, and Breezy?
She was trying to explain to me what she did. She was trying to make me understand.
We didn't want to live without them either. We wanted to bring the whole family together and make the transverse together.
After authorities find the dead bodies of Anthony Tote's wife, Megan, 3 children, Alec, Tyler, and Zoe, and family dog Breezy in their Florida home, the former physical therapist is arrested and charged with murder and animal cruelty. Tote would initially confess to the killings, but then in recorded jailhouse phone calls with his sister, he claimed he wasn't the killer, but rather it was Megan.
Everything really changed with Megan got sick.
And you know, how ironic for him to blame somebody who is not even alive to defend themselves. Right? So that's one of the people you actually took their lives. But you also now want us to believe that they, after being brutally deleted by you, were the whole mastermind behind this. I mean, just wicked.
Relive the whole situation over and over again.
In April of 2022, it would be up to a jury to sort out the truth as Anthony Tote's criminal trial began.
You're going to be informed by the defendant in his interview that he is the one that took the lives of Megan Tote, Alexander Tote, Tyler Tote, and Zoe Tote.
Tote's defense presented one sole witness, Anthony Tote himself.
I came home and my kids were dead. It was the most horrible day of my life. And what made it more horrible is my wife died in front of me also. Did you kill your family? No.
If you put it all on the wife's not there to rebut it, and that can work sometimes. If you can portray the victim in a negative light.
I didn't even see this coming. They say, blindsided. This was a blindside by like a Mack truck filled with dynamite.
Tote then faced cross-examination by the prosecution.
You told detectives that you went into Zoe's room, gathered the courage, and you rolled over on top of your daughter until she suffocated. Isn't that what you told law enforcement?
Is this a yes or no question, or do you want the answer?
Yes or no question.
That is what the video, yes, showed you.
And your testimony here today is that Megan did it.
Megan killed Zoe.
He kept using that phrase.
The audacity to be pompous and arrogant on the stand when nobody believes a damn thing that you're saying. Your wife birthed 3 children where you want us to believe that she killed all of them and then told you to brutally kill her as well? No, sir. We do not believe you. We don't believe you. We do not believe you. But the lengths that he's going to try and paint her as evil should tell you something about this relationship.
That's what the video says, that's what the video shows, as if it was some type of alternate universe.
You told law enforcement multiple times that Tyler was fast and he was...
You saw the video, and you saw the video also of saying I said things that have been proven incorrect.
That's not responsive to my question.
Actually, it is. But
yes?
I don't remember anything after I left the house till I got to jail.
Well, that is you in the video, right?
It's a sickly version of me, yes. Thank God I didn't tell you I assassinated
There's
Kennedy.
no question.
Where the Benadryl comes in and it's mental health issues, it could try to convince a jury that he did not know what he was saying when he was confessing.
You told law enforcement on multiple occasions that you went into Alec's room and you stabbed Alec and you suffocated Alec. Isn't that correct?
That's partially correct.
And your testimony today is that that is not true.
My testimony today is the fact that Megan killed her kids and killed herself.
But was the jury convinced? After deliberating
Wow.
for just over 6 hours.
Like I said again, the smug, pompous idiot sitting up here. You want us to believe that these beautiful people are gone because of your wife? You did it all, but you want us to believe that your big, pompous, fat behind was persuaded by your wife, and yet you couldn't do any of that to yourself. All of them are hurt. She's the bad one, but you're still here. I mean, it's just brutal.
And your testimony today is that that is not true.
My testimony today is the fact that Megan killed her kids and killed herself.
But was the jury...
And all you see here, this is his true self right here. This ugly, stupid face right here is proof that he is a pompous jerk. You can tell he did it. All DNA evidence points to him. Yet he's going to sit here and say, my testimony is, sir, you did it. Nobody believes anything other besides that. He's smug as hell. Smug as hell, Empress Kia. He did it.
Jury convinced. After deliberating for just over 6 hours, they returned their verdict.
State of Florida versus Anthony John Tote. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder as charged in the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of cruelty to animals.
Anthony Tote was convicted across the board.
I think they could have made an okay argument that it was possible that Megan was the killer, but there was no way to get around that confession. No matter what they said, when that confession came in, that was the end of it.
His whole defense is undermined by the fact that he stayed with the dead bodies. This guy had the means, motive, and opportunity. He was desperate financially, he was acting irrationally, and he committed this horrific crime and then tried to cover it up.
Just before Tote is sentenced, he addresses the court one last time.
This was a personal catastrophe in everybody's life in my family, including myself. I maintain my innocence. I loved my wife. I loved my children. I was not there the night my children died.
I think this speaks to that whole kind of pressured speech vibe that Anthony gives off. He demands that people listen to him. He can't comprehend that they wouldn't believe his lies. Maybe it was just his last chance of getting attention.
So
this is not helping you from this progress on, so I encourage you to.
I'm sorry. I did not do this.
To profess his innocence till the end, it just adds insult to injury. Here's a guy who perhaps believes his own lies or is just such a megalomaniac that thinks he could talk his way out of it.
A jury has unanimously determined, after listening to the evidence presented, that you, Anthony John Tote, are a destroyer of worlds. You were sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
This was his way of exerting what little control he had left in the world. And that's why the judge said, you're a destroyer of worlds. That was the only power he had left, to destroy others' worlds. And he did. But now he's got to pay the price.
The Anthony Tote case presented a lot of questions in terms of how these heinous crimes.
And his case and many like it definitely do present many questions about why people go to such great devious lengths to get rid of their loved ones, right? He could have simply divorced his wife, found a new relationship. So let's look into some of the data coming from the Department of Justice and things like that about men who delete their families. All right, let's get into it. I'm going to share the screen here. All right, so men who murder their families, what research tells us. Cases where people delete their families and then commit self-deletion are mercifully rare, right? So notice the individual here didn't delete himself. He simply deleted his family. So a lot of the times we're talking about these cases, and back in the times where this was being studied, the more common ending was that the partner who deleted the family also deleted himself. This is not the case in a lot of these cases that we're seeing, recently. I'm going to talk about one that came to my attention via Facebook. And that case is actually of somebody who, from Ohio, I believe, something like that, who went a little bit further and he did delete himself. But these cases go a range of ways. Sometimes it's whole family and himself. Sometimes it's just the whole family. Sometimes it's a few members and himself who are part of like an immediate family. All right, so let's read a little bit here from this NIJ article. So cases where people delete, they're mercifully rare. Less extreme forms of domestic violence and child abuse are more common. Acts of partner conflict can fall on a broad spectrum, ranging from verbal criticisms to cases of a family deletion followed by self-deletion. The research identifies several risk factors that may indeed predict more severe domestic violence cases. So a lot of the times these are linked to domestic violence. Now, in the case of Anthony Todd that we just looked at, I truly think that Anthony Todd had resentment and hatred for his wife, and that kind of spilled over to how he treated the wife and the family in the end, right? So a lot of these cases do stem from more aggressive cases of domestic violence. Let's continue though. In a seminar titled Men Who Delete Their Families, what the research tells us, an expert panel discussion. Ooh, did I just sting myself? Sorry, guys. An expert panel discussed the recent spike in news reports of familicide cases. Panelists include Jacqueline C. Campbell's of John J. Hopkins University, author David Adams, and Richard Gels of University of Pennsylvania. Campbell, Anna D. Wolf Chair and Professor at JHU School of Nursing, discussed the CDC's and Prevention National Violent Death Reporting System. Of the 408 homicide self-deletion cases, most perpetrators were men, 91%, and most used a gun. So obviously, this is a very small pool, right? About 900 people. That's not going to be characteristic of that's not a very large sample size. It's a very small sample size, right? But it does say something that 91% of the perpetrators were men, and 88% of the time they use a firearm. A 12-city study that Campbell conducted of these cases found that IPV had previously occurred in 70% of them. So 70% of those cases of self-deletion and deletion of the family, those cases already had DV involved in them. So, it makes an interesting case. Still a very small sample size of 400 people, sorry. But it does say something. Interestingly, only 25% of prior DV appeared in the arrest records, according to Campbell. Research uncovered much of the prior DV through interviews with family and friends of the homicide victims. Prior DV is by far the number one risk factor in these cases. Yeah, absolutely. Right? A lot of times people think, oh, that's just how they are. They just fight. But those types of situations tend to escalate to this, right? So being in this type of toxic, violent relationship, DV, is a predictor for these violent cases. Very sad. All right, so let's move on from this article here. We're going to move on to the next case. I just wanted to bring you guys a little bit of research about family annihilators. All right, so next we have the case of Kelly Fitzgibbons. About Kelly because I feel like some of these criminals, like Chris Watts and things like that, the story sort of becomes about them. Actually, before we move on to that case, because that one is a little bit bigger, we're going to go here to Martin Muniz, who was released from prison and did the unthinkable to his family, who took him in. Let's get into it. Do me a favor, guys, as you're coming in, like and share the stream, subscribe, all that. I'll greatly appreciate you.
I'm serious. I'm not crazy. And you could go to the address and verify. The address is 3719 Mac Court. But I want you to handcuff me first.
All right, let me pull up really quick. What the hell is going on, dude? What the hell, dude? Hold on, I got us. Get out, cuffs. Turn your camera on. 240 radio.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you can put us up, or clear us off of this assignment. No cause. And put us out at 44 and Clark with a male. He approached our vehicle and said that he just did something bad, and he's going to give us an address on Mac Court as to what he did and where it's at.
It was a cool 52 degrees with light rain falling over Camden, New Jersey on October 30th, 2013. But for Blanca Ramirez, the weather wasn't the only thing weighing on her mind. She had an uneasy feeling, a sense that something was off. She explained further during an interview with a local ABC News affiliate.
45-year-old Jamie Molina had a problem.
He was sick because he used to use drugs.
Speaking through her cousin, Blanca Luz Ramirez believes her husband's drug habit may have contributed to the events of October 30th, 2013.
Two friends of his, they came to get him. It was around 1:20 in the afternoon. She told him not to leave. She thought, she felt that something was going to happen to him.
A short time later, police were called to the intersection of 5th and Cedar Streets in Camden for a shooting. There they found Molina shot to death. Detectives say the community is very close, and they're hoping that that closeness will bring someone forward.
Anybody who has information or is even a little bit of information can help us piece this together and lead us in a direction of finding out who did this to him and his family.
She knows that God's going to do justice.
An autopsy revealed the cause of death was a gunshot wound to the head. The police opened an investigation, but were left grasping at straws. They had no leads, no suspects, only a grieving widow and an open case file. Then, less than 2 months later, Camden police arrested Martin Muniz on unrelated charges. When they searched him, they found a firearm. A ballistics test later revealed that the gun matched the shell casing found next to Jamie Molina's body. Muniz became the prime suspect in the homicide, but his connection to the murder weapon alone wasn't enough to make a case stick, so the investigation stalled. And for years, the case remained cold, until winter 2023. January 13th, 2023. Just another snowy Friday evening in the Brooklyn Center neighborhood of Cleveland. Inside her home, 34-year-old Angelique Gonzalez was enjoying some quiet time with the people she cared about most. She and her husband, Anthony Tone Booth, were in one room, while her teenage son, Jaden, their 8-year-old daughter, and her 70-year-old father, Juan Angel Hernandez, were each in separate rooms. Down in the basement was her brother, 41-year-old Martin Muniz, keeping to himself. It was the kind of night where you don't think twice about what might happen next. But that was all about to change, and in the worst possible way. Just after 7 p.m., something deeply unsettling happened inside the house, prompting Muniz to leave in a hurry. Once outside, he calmly waved down a passing police cruiser, and what he said next left them stunned.
I'm serious, I'm not crazy. And you could go to the address and verify. The address is 3719 Mac Court. But I want you to handcuff me first.
All right, let me pull up really quick.
Okay.
What the hell's going on, dude? What the hell, dude? Hold on, I got us. Get out, Compton. Turn your camera on.
Listen, this is just a bizarre take of like how it's going, how he's going about it. And I think for some of these people, they really think by going about it in this weird way, like, flagging down the police, pretending to get help, that they're going to convince people that they didn't do what they did. I think that's part of the shtick as well. But let's get into it. Hey, Joanne, Lana, Empress. Thank you, everybody, for joining the show.
Yeah, you can put us off, or clear us off of this assignment. No cause. And put us out at 44 on Clark with a male. He approached our vehicle and said that he just did something bad, and he's going to give us an address on Mac Court as to what he did and where it's at. 3719 Mac Court. He said that he killed 5 people.
Hey, you guys, I gotta find real fast.
You got an ID on you?
While Muniz was standing outside,
I'm not gonna
calmly
hold
confessing.
you. His tone and like how he approached it, I can see why they were in some ways being a little dismissive. Like I can see that. He didn't sound like, oh, like somebody who had just committed a bunch of crime. He sounded like he was trying to tell them like, hey, the power's off, or hey, come help me with something over here. So I can see why they were kind of like hesitant to just like come and follow him and see what was going on. Let's continue though.
His alleged crimes to the officers. 911 calls were pouring into the Cleveland Police Department dispatch center.
Yeah, Cleveland Police, this is Operator Taylor. How can we help you?
Hi, Kara. I got a phone call from my ex-boyfriend that he just killed his whole family, and his mother is on his way there to the house.
Okay, what's the address?
3719 Mac Court.
3719 Mac Court.
3719 Mac Court.
Is that a single, double, or an apartment?
I think it's a single. It's a house. And the one he said he killed was his sister, brother-in-law, 2 kids, and his sister's father.
Okay, ma'am, hold on 1 second. He said he texted you this?
No, he called me to tell me that.
You think he's serious?
When the first time he called, he was crying and told me that he loved me, that he's always going to love me, and he's never going to see me again, and he was very highly upset and then hung up. When I called him back several times, he refused to answer.
Okay,
Listen, whether he's believable or not, go check it out. I mean, this is too many questions from somebody who clearly sounds disturbed by what she heard from the individual.
I know the people again you said who he said he killed.
It's a sister. Her name is Angelique. The husband, Tone. 2 kids. 1 17, I think the other little girl 6. And the father, his name is Angel.
All right, what's your ex-boyfriend's name?
His name is Martin, Martin, Muniz, Muniz.
What's his date of birth?
11/24/71.
Is he black, white, Hispanic?
He's Hispanic. I know he's walking right now because when he FaceTimed me, he was walking.
You know what he's wearing?
He's wearing a red hoodie. It has like a logo on the left side of the shirt. The hoodie is up, but underneath the hoodie, he's wearing like a cap, like a white, like a snow cap, I guess you can call it. He has a full beard.
You know where he's walking towards?
No.
You said he's wearing, a red hoodie?
Yeah.
And you know what color pants or no?
No. I'm assuming he's wearing jogging pants because his jeans don't fit him, he says.
Does he have any mental or physical disabilities?
No, he's bipolar, but he did tell me that he has a gun and he still has 2 bullets in it.
Do we know what kind of gun?
No. And I know the mom and the grandmother are on the way to the house.
I don't know if they're already dispatching people, Tree Rogi, but I agree. Who cares? Get there first and then figure out who this killer is after the fact. If she's even remotely possibly correct. What day this individual was born is not relevant or important at the moment. I agree there.
His mother?
Her mother. It's their mother, yeah.
His ex-boyfriend's mother?
Yes.
You know her name? You said he's known to have what kind of disorder?
He's bipolar. He has bipolar issues.
Do we know anything else?
No, he's been in prison before. He's been there a total of 21 years of break, but it was never for murder. It's always been drug charges.
So he called upset and crying?
Yeah, the first time he did. The second time when we talked on FaceTime, he seemed he seemed more calm, but he just kept saying over and over because I did it.
So when he called back, he seemed calm?
Yeah, but he kept saying, I killed them all, I killed them all.
Okay.
Additional units arrived quickly and met with Angelique and Martin's mother outside the home where the incident occurred. The officers needed answers. Was her son's story true? Was there really a gruesome scene just steps away?
1953.
Hi, my daughter lives here. I got a call from two cousins. My son murdered them all. I don't know. I just got here and I don't trust him, so I was afraid to knock on the door. I was waiting for you guys.
His son's not here, I don't believe. He approached two.
Do you know the cousin? Does he have mental disorders? What's up?
Who?
Who's the guy that called?
My son, yes. Yeah. He was locked up for 20 years. Yes, he's got mental
What was
issues.
he locked up for?
All kinds of violations.
Like violence
yes,
against people?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, well, just hang tight for us.
But, my daughter's car's at home. Oh, my God, my whole inside was shaking.
Yeah. 925 radio. The front door is open. It's just unlocked. It's not all the way open.
Copy. You want me to walk in first and call my grandkids?
No, man. No.
Who
Hey,
else is
Sarge,
supposed to live here?
My
given
daughter,
permission to go inside his...
husband.
Have you tried to call her?
I called all of them. No one's answering. Her car's not here.
Supposed to be upstairs though?
Hey, we don't need permission.
Hello?
We had two females
We don't need permission.
en route to the location. I wasn't notified of anyone being inside.
Cleveland Police!
You did not enough to go see if anyone was in the door. Okay, check it.
Oh, shit. Cleveland Police! Somebody's on the bed. Oh, yo, it's real. Get EMS rolling.
Radio.
You got one female on the ground.
According to a probable cause affidavit, officers found 5 victims, each shot in the head. 3 victims, 16-year-old Jaden Baez, 34-year-old Angelique, and 70-year-old Miguel Angel Gonzalez, were pronounced dead on arrival. 2 victims, 48-year-old Anthony Booth and his 8-year-old daughter, were transported to a nearby hospital. Anthony Booth succumbed to his wounds, while the 8-year-old was treated for her injuries and eventually recovered, albeit with the horrific loss of her immediate family members. Homicide detectives and crime scene units arrived swiftly, trying to make sense of the horror that had unfolded. What could possibly drive someone to commit such a brutal massacre? There was only one person who could answer that: Martin Muniz. He was taken to the station for questioning, and what he revealed to detectives wasn't just disturbing, it was the kind of confession that would haunt them for years to come.
Detective Schultz and I, Chuck and I, were really not too up to speed on what all is taking place here this evening.
Well, I tried to kill my sister's whole family, but 2 of them got lucky and lived.
2 of them got lucky and lived.
And the other 3 didn't.
What prompted that? Being specific?
Just the way people treat me.
Okay.
I came home from prison. I didn't bother nobody. I tried to get a job. They're gonna tell you when they scrambled through my tablet. I was on deed. I did job interviews. I went to Catholic churches. Just couldn't get a job. And then they make food, but they eat it all. So by the time I get to it, there's nothing to eat. And all they tell me is that's my business. Okay. So I let that go on for months. You know, I got blisters on my feet from walking 11 miles trying to get a job, but you guys got 2 cars and you can't drive me?
Sure.
So I killed him.
So how long have you been living at the house on that?
Couple months.
Couple months. And again, I don't know anything about your history.
So he was fed up because people weren't doing things for him and decided to delete them. He's describing himself as a victim even when he's taken so many people's lives. Let's continue to listen to him.
Mr. Munez, how long have you been out of prison?
4 years.
4 years? Okay.
Have you been staying at your sister's the whole time?
No, I've been to Texas, I've been to Jersey, I've been to Illinois, here.
So, Mr. Munez, can you walk us through the events of this evening, how it transpired? Or?
No, I came upstairs to eat, and I asked my sister's dad, no, I'm lying. I asked Jaden, her son, I said, yo, where is the rest of the food at? He said, no, it's gone. I'm like, what you mean it's gone? I didn't even eat yet. So he was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. So I said, okay, well, where's my sister at? So I asked my sister, I said, where's the food at? She said, I don't know. Why are you asking me? I said, okay. I said, yo, I didn't eat. We're gonna have a problem. Nobody said nothing. So,
yeah, some people need to be put out. Some people need to be put out because this level of entitlement is scary. This is a scary level of entitlement. I don't believe that he was really looking for a job that hard. I don't think so. If his whole mindset was there's no food here, I'm not gonna eat, I'm gonna start raging out. No, I think that he had a very comfy life and they were tired of taking care of him. He obviously had a very long rap sheet. Let's continue.
they had to go.
Take your time.
What happened when you left the house? Can you recall where you went?
I don't know, man. I just wanted a gun in my hand.
Sure. Do you any idea where you put that?
No.
Not certain.
Did you take it out of the house with you?
Yeah, it was on me. I don't know where I put it at. I had to put it somewhere.
But you left the house with the gun.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna leave it there. This ain't the first time I'm killing somebody. I got caught with the first gun on the first body. They just couldn't prove it was me.
Where was that at?
New Jersey. I gave the guy's name is Jamie Molina. I killed him on October 13, 2013, Northgate Park, broad daylight.
Why'd you do that?
He robbed me.
What was his name?
Jamie Molina. You can call him and verify if you like.
Muniz's account of events and the timeline pertaining to the Molina murder doesn't quite match up with the version provided by Molina's family or the Camden County Police Department. Nevertheless, Muniz would eventually circle back to Molina's death, but for now the detective redirects the conversation to focus on what Muniz did in the immediate aftermath of his most recent and horrific crime.
All the way over to Clark Avenue, is that where you flagged on the police?
Yeah, I guess. I just want to see any cop, man, just so I can go back home. I don't belong on the streets. I don't. You got other people who belong on the streets. I don't. They should have never let me home.
So when you left the house and were walking, did you like throw it in the garbage can, house, or just on the street?
I don't know. My mind was just...
And that's more victimhood on his part, right? They should have never let me home. You know, I didn't know how to live anymore. I didn't know how to be a human being. I was just bound to do this. No, it was still a choice. You still made that choice to be who you were. You know, but he's right. These type of people who lack accountability, can't see what they have done, especially after, you know, deleting that many people. They should not be free. They should not be out in society with the rest of us.
Focused on, I need to go home. I didn't care about where the gun was at. I didn't care about if they was looking for me, nothing. I just wanted to come back home.
Where's home?
The box. I don't want nothing else. So I'm guilty of it. You can write it down. I don't really care.
Can you at least describe the gun? What kind of gun was it?
I don't know, man. It used to kill people, dude. I didn't look at the details of the gun.
Where'd you get it?
That I don't know.
Was it just at the house?
I don't know.
Are you hungry? Do you want something?
No, I want to remember.
That's what I'm saying. Is if you're hungry, you need something to help you, you know?
Mr. Nunez, are you on any medications at the current moment?
No. I'm normal, I guess. Well, I don't know what the hell they're gonna call me now.
So, do you recall who all was in the house?
Well, I know I walked into my sister's room and I shot Tone first.
You say Tone?
Yeah, Anthony.
Is that the 16-year-old?
No, that's the black dude. I shot him first.
The boyfriend?
My sister's husband.
Okay.
And then my sister looked at me and put her hands up and I shot her. And then I walked out the room and my niece told me, "How you doing?" And I didn't want to shoot her. I didn't want her to die. So I didn't shoot her in the head. The boy I shot in the head. Then I went upstairs and I shot him in the face.
Who?
Angel. And then I came back downstairs and I walked back in my sister's room and I shot Tone again. And then I went next to my sister and I put a bullet in the back of her head.
Now, your niece, was she shot at all?
Yeah, I shot her, but I didn't want her to die.
Okay.
She's harmless, just... I wouldn't have killed her son either. But, I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't want her to die. So I didn't shoot her in her face.
Okay.
The guy upstairs that died, he used to beat me as a kid. And he got away with it because nobody would listen to me when I used to ask for help.
Notice how he has a justification for every person that he has attacked. You know, it really was just built up vitriol over time. He had no real reason at the time for what he was doing. All right, we're going to continue on. This guy's a real loser. You know, I did not like listening to him speak. Not that I like listening to the last guy speak, but like listening to him speak was incredibly irritating. And the reasons that he tried to use, the justifications, pissed me off. So instead of getting pissed off for 20 minutes, we're going to move on to the next case. This is a man. I believe this one was also Ohio. So I've done Ohio cases. I believe this is another one. I might be wrong. Let me just double check. I can't tell. No, Westchester. Yeah, this one's Westchester. Let's continue.
Of April 28, 2019, when Westchester police received a frantic call regarding a possible murder spree. Law enforcement became involved in one of the most gruesome cases the city had ever seen.
Saying someone's banging the doors. Okay, all right. Stay back here for me, okay? All right. This guy in the car? Let me see your hands. Hands. All right, hands. Let me see your hands. Hands. Down on the ground. Lay on your belly.
Minutes after being dispatched, police officers arrived at the apartment complex, only to find the caller, 41-year-old Gurpreet Singh, who appeared extremely startled, emphasizing that something horrific had happened to his family.
You got coverage on him? Come up here and get lethal coverage on him.
I'm not going anywhere. Please help them.
We got you.
Please help them. Please help them.
Once officers stepped into the apartment, they were met with exactly that sight of horror, as they discovered 4 victims, later identified as the caller's wife, his mother and father-in-law, and his aunt-in-law, all of whom had been brutally gunned down, execution style. Although Gurpreet claimed he came home to find his family dying, officers not only found no signs of forced entry or robbery, but they also realized the killings were eerily methodical. Multiple victims were found dead in their bedrooms. Some appeared to have been executed point blank while they slept. To the officers, it was clear. This wasn't an erratic killing spree. It was cold, calculated, and deliberate. At the center of it all was Gurpreet Singh, the husband of one of the victims, who appeared more than distraught.
You know, Gurpreet was one of the people who thought, he was one of those perpetrators who thought he was really smart. And he thought that he was going to outsmart the police by acting like he was trying to get the people who he harmed help. All right, let's continue.
Police brought him in for questioning, as he was the immediate witness to the murders. Unbeknownst to the officers, what began as a tragic act of violence would soon spiral into one of the most chilling and complex murder investigations in Westchester's history.
Hello, how are you?
Sir, I'm okay. Okay. Nothing wrong with me.
I understand.
I'm totally okay. You please help my family.
Yeah, we're helping. I know you've been through a lot. We're gonna take our time, okay? Just deep breaths. Just relax.
You take them to the hospital for 1 minute. Maybe you save them.
Okay.
I give my blood if you need my blood.
I understand. What's your first name? What's your name? So I want.
Sir, I gave my name maybe 4 or 5
Sure.
times.
But we're gonna have a conversation. I'm Randy. This is Andrew.
My name is Gurpreet Singh.
Okay. You go by Gary? Somebody told me you go by Gary.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna call you Gary. Is that okay?
Yeah. My company, my load people go by Gary.
Okay. You a truck driver?
Yes.
From what I've been told? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, well.
Sir, can you please call my kids?
Call who?
My kids. My babies.
Your kids?
Yeah.
I'm not, we're just gonna hear and talk to you a little bit, okay? Here's the thing. You call 911, something bad happened. Okay?
Yes, yeah.
Right?
They all bleed.
Okay. I understand. We need to know what happened, okay?
My mom and my wife all on the ground bleeding.
I understand. Let's calm down for a minute, okay? And let's go back way before that, okay? Tell me, where did you wake up this morning?
Home.
Okay, where is home? It's just easier if we start in small chunks.
But
okay. In the same apartment? Yes? Okay. Okay. And what time did you wake up, Gary? I know, it's hard. We have plenty of time. Take your time, okay?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Maybe 9 o'clock. I sleep late.
Okay. You sleep late?
I have back pain.
Okay.
And that's it. I stay home. I did nothing.
Okay. All right.
Then
did you?
Yeah, I ate. That's it.
We're trying to figure out what you called 911. We're trying to figure out what happened. And sometimes the best way to do that is to start at the beginning of the day.
I just know. I leave, go to my truck, and I come back. I go.
Take your time. Take your time.
Sir, it's giving BSing. I don't believe the whole, a grieving husband. I don't believe it. It comes across really inauthentic. But this is what he's trying to sell.
Take your time.
I come back. Can I talk to my kids, please?
During the interview, Gurpreet Singh appeared overly emotional, often unable to form basic replies, which, in the grand scheme of things, was totally understandable to the detectives, as he had just lost 4 family members. He described himself as a devoted father and a sober family man. However, detectives found it odd that his main concern was the well-being of his 3 children, who, at the time of the murders, were not even present in the house and had coincidentally stayed over at their cousin's. Gurpreet's responses focused more on his emotional state and personal loss than on the circumstances inside the apartment.
You know, a little bit earlier when I was talking about how common these crimes are and how they're very rare, right? I talked about how most men are trying to preserve the life of their children, right? That's more common than what you would see in a family annihilator. Sorry guys, it's freezing. It's cold. I thought I turned the heat up, but I don't think I did. But a lot of the times the children are spared, right? In most cases. Right? Most cases where you see brutal DV violence, the children are spared, sometimes not even touched or harmed. Maybe sometimes haven't even seen the physical abuse with their own eyes. They may have heard it, but they might have been sheltered from that and that part of the relationship in order for the parents to maintain their pedestals. Right? And I think, you know, his reaction is not genuine, and it's pretty clear. You know, but he definitely went out of his way to make sure his children didn't suffer in the aftermath, at least in terms of seeing what happened and being traumatized by that versus just hearing about a parent being deceased. All right, let's continue.
Apartment.
So you sleep until 9?
Yes.
It's 9 o'clock in the morning because your back hurts.
Yes.
Okay? When you wake up, everyone is still there, or are they at church already?
When I wake up, no, my wife home.
Your wife is home when you wake up at 9?
And my mother and my aunt at work.
Okay, and your kids were home?
Yeah, yes. My kids sleep.
Your kids were asleep? Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me about your morning.
I do nothing. I all day lay on the floor.
Okay.
Sit down and lay down again and sit.
Okay, so your dad's watching TV and you're laying on the floor. You're sitting up because your back hurts. Okay.
Yeah.
How long does this go on?
Maybe 1 hour.
Okay, so like an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's about 10 o'clock now. What happens next? What do you do? I know it's hard.
Sir, please, I don't remember everything correctly.
I know you don't. That's why I'm trying to help you, because it's very, very important to us that we know when everybody came and when everybody left. Okay, and you're the only one that can tell us this.
My mom and my dad, they go for shopping.
Okay, like grocery shopping or for clothes? Or?
Maybe clothes. And then mom and dad come back after a little bit.
After a little bit? Hour?
Maybe, yes. My sister, she also go to dance class.
Okay.
She come back from dance class.
Okay, so now everyone's back.
Yes.
Everybody who lives there is now back in the apartment, correct?
Yes.
Did you guys eat together?
I cook for my kids today in the afternoon.
Okay.
And I leave for I want to fix some light on my truck because DOT stop you. Yeah.
So what it looks like is he claims to have cooked, but this is what happened to the stove in the afternoon. It actually looks like they found it on. Right? So clearly he wasn't being attentive. Maybe that's around when things happen. Yes, he is the suspect. You know, he tried to alert the police as if he had found the crime scene as is, and it turns out he had a lot more to do with it than we thought. Right? Well, not we, but they. Let's continue.
I cook for my kids today in the afternoon.
Okay.
And I leave for I want to fix some light on my truck because DOT stop you. Yeah. I go and fix lights. I only pull like 3, maybe 4 lights out, and I couldn't see. It was getting darker, and my back was getting bad again because of cold wind. I came back. When I go inside, my mom my wife and my aunt, and I go call them, Mummy, Shalandra, Mummy, Masi, Masi. They're all bleeding, and I see my dad. Yeah, he's bleeding too.
Okay.
And I call 911.
As the interview progressed, investigators began reconstructing the timeline as told by Singh. GPS data showed that at 9:03 p.m, Gurpreet Singh parked his semi-truck near the apartment complex. According to him, he arrived at the apartment at 9:11 p.m, only to find the front door wide open and discover that his 4 family members were all bleeding. Although this part of the story seems plausible, the subsequent events raised immediate red flags for detectives, as records showed that it took Singh almost 30 minutes from the time he arrived to make the 911 call at 9:42 p.m. Before placing the 911 call, he claims that he tried to wake his family up by shaking them and giving them water. Not calling 911.
Shaking and giving water to people with stab wounds is going to do what? Okay, now I'm starting to think he thinks we're dumb. Do you think we're dumb, Gurpreet?
911 immediately was already suspicious to detectives, but things became even more questionable when neighbour reports directly contradicted Gurpreet Singh's version of events. Several residents reported hearing gunshot-like bangs throughout the apartment complex around 9:15 p.m, followed by Gurpreet screaming and banging on neighbours' doors, asking for help.
Westchester Police and Fire.
There was someone banging on our doors telling us to call the police. They're just banging on a bunch of doors, like screaming, please call the police, please call the police, please help me.
Do you have any idea what's going on?
Sensing a shift in Singh's story and demeanour, detectives decided to pause the interrogation, giving him a moment to settle. During the break, he appeared lost in thought. Whatever was going through his mind, one thing was certain: Gurpreet wasn't calm. He looked tense, anxious, and completely on edge. Whether it was the pressure of the interrogation and his own fate, or the trauma of losing 4 family members that was driving his emotions, remained unclear.
And I know that I've already asked you this, okay? But we're gonna start from the beginning. We're gonna put some exact times to this, so Gary and Randy here can say we were here at this time. These people were here at this time. These people were here at this time. I did this at this time. I did this at this time, okay? And then I found my family murdered, okay?
So you're saying someone killed my family?
I think so. I think so.
Why?
I don't know. That's what you're here to help me. Okay. Hey Gary, did you have shoes when you came here?
No.
You didn't have any on?
You know, all the extra breathing, the detective's looking at him like, well, that's why you're here to help me. Right? Because nobody believes that anybody but you did this. It's sad that people are at the most danger when they're dealing with their own sick family members, people that aren't accountable. This guy was so mad at these family members that he was willing to send his children off to create the perfect opportunity to delete them without anybody suspecting. It's truly disturbing. Let's continue.
My shoes at home.
Okay. Where did you take your shoes off at?
My shoe came off when I was going. I do only really loose shoes. I don't.
Okay, what kind of shoes were you wearing?
My truck shoes.
And you're saying that sometime when you were running around, they fell off?
Yeah, they came off.
One subtle but noteworthy detail was that Gurpreet Singh was barefoot during the interview. Forensic analysis later revealed trace evidence and partial shoe impressions that were consistent with elements of Singh's clothing and boots. However, these results were not conclusive and could not definitively place him at the scene during the killings.
All right, Gary, we're going to start from the beginning, okay? And I'm going to ask you some very direct questions, okay? And I give you some very direct answers. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, help me. Help you.
Yeah, I help you everywhere.
I know you will. That's why I'm confident in this, okay?
Yeah.
All right. What time did you wake up?
I know it was after 8.
What time did you lay on the floor? Give me a time.
Right when I woke up.
So 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay. and your dad
Yes.
is watching TV, and he is watching the Indian elections.
Yes.
Okay. What happens next? Does your dad leave for church?
I remember my dad go inside again, his room.
Okay.
Get ready for church, and he leave.
So who is now in the house when your dad is gone at 11 o'clock?
Me, my wife, and kids.
At what time does the next person either show up or leave?
My mom and aunt come back from work.
From work?
Yes.
Okay, and what time is that?
It has to be 1 or 1:30, and then my wife takes the kids to the dance class.
And what time was that?
I know their class starts at 3 p.m. When my sister, my brother, and kids and wife are home, my mom and dad come back, and now we're all home. Everybody's home. It's got to be around 6 p.m.
So 6 p.m.
Yes.
Everyone is in the apartment.
Everyone in the home, and then my older daughter wants to go to the restaurant. And I said I can't go because of my back, and my sister said I'll take you because of my kids. And then I didn't see my truck for all day, so I left for my truck after they were gone for a little bit.
Do you know what time that was? Do you remember?
No, I don't.
As detectives walked Singh through the events of that day, he nodded occasionally and gave brief, carefully chosen responses. His strong emotional reactions stood in stark contrast to his strangely low effort to assist the investigation or provide meaningful details about the crime scene.
How was your relationship with your folks? With your mom?
Just fine.
Good?
Yes. We lived together ever since I got here in USA, and nothing wrong, no problem whatsoever.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you guys ever argue or fight more than normal?
Not at all. Not even normal argument. Not at all. I don't remember every single day of my life, but I know there was never anything you can get into argument category. They're my mom and dad.
Yeah. What about your wife? How's your relationship with her?
Fine. We have 3 kids.
How long have you been married?
2002.
2002?
Yes, long time.
Have you ever separated for any reason?
No, never. Always together. She is a really good mom. She told me that she wanted to work. I said, no, you stay home. I make money. You stay home, you take care of kids and family. You don't go to work. How's
your business going?
Good.
Good? You making money?
Yeah.
Good.
Good.
I'm just trying to think of why this would happen. Is there anybody in your family that has got a gambling problem?
No.
Is there anybody, including yourself? I'm asking you too.
Yes.
Okay, and I need you to be honest with me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I give you my blood.
Okay. Does anybody got a gambling problem?
No gambling problem.
Does anybody have a drinking problem?
It used to be, not anymore.
Who had a drinking problem?
My dad did.
You're correct. He's trying to look small and innocent. Yeah, he's trying to pretend like he had these calm interactions with people and, that he was never a danger. But obviously, this didn't just go from a regular day to him doing this. There's a lot more going on here, but he's trying to portray himself as, this small, timid individual. Yeah, yep, the detective is definitely mirroring him. And sometimes you do have to mirror these little narcs, because that's the only way you're going to get them to speak on themselves, is to see you mirroring it and feel seen. They like that power as well. All right, let's continue.
He would get sick, and then he go to hospital.
Okay. So he would drink a lot to where he would get sick?
Yes, and get better.
Did you guys owe anybody money?
My dad did, but it was all paid back.
Your dad did owe somebody money?
Yes, but I know he paid it back. I know, because he sold his land in India.
Do you owe anybody money for your truck?
No.
You have no business loans?
No, sir. No, I have a loan on my truck from a bank. That's all.
You owe nobody money for anything?
No.
I hate to have to ask you this question, but I'm going to. Has your wife ever been unfaithful to you?
Always faithful, no problem.
Okay, have you ever been unfaithful to your wife?
Always faithful, never problem.
Gurpreet portrayed himself and his family as genuine, honest people. But as investigators dug deeper, a far more complicated picture began to emerge. They uncovered that not only were the family dynamics more complex, but that Gurpreet also had growing financial issues, including debt. Digital records revealed ongoing financial disputes, tense arguments, and a particularly strained relationship between Gurpreet and his father-in-law. On top of that, investigators found that Gurpreet had been secretly involved with a woman in Indiana and had sent her over $20,000 to help with a house down payment, raising questions not only about his financial situation, but also about the true state of his marriage and family life.
First off, you don't.
And it's actually pretty sad. You see a lot of the times these cases, these family annihilators, the same with Chris Watts, right? Chris Watts wanted another woman. He wanted to be done with his family. He wanted a clean slate. But he didn't know how to let go of that situation. And so his way of letting go was to get rid of them, right? To annihilate them. And unfortunately, that's where the name comes from. But I believe that was similar here, except he chose to spare his children. Right? He was done with this family. He wanted to move forward. And he did it the only way his tiny, puny little brain knew how. The only way. All right, let's continue.
You don't own any guns. I'm not accusing you of anything, but you don't own any guns, do you?
Yes, I do.
You do. What do you own?
It's a Beretta.
Beretta? What kind of Beretta?
I can give it to you.
Where is it?
At home.
It's in your house?
Yes. It's in the closet in the corner.
In the closet in the corner. Is it in a box or is it just sitting there?
It's in a box.
So how long have you had the gun?
A few years. I would say 3-4 years.
How often do you shoot it?
Not often. Not often. Matter of fact, it's been not often. It's right there.
I know.
Yeah.
How many? When's the last time you shot it?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
It's been that, and matter of fact, it's in the box and.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what caliber is it?
9.
9 millimeter?
9 millimeter, yes.
Okay. Is that the only gun you've ever owned?
Yes.
You never bought any other guns? You never traded one here, traded one there? Because I do that. Like, I'll get a gun. I'm like, oh, this one.
Yeah, but after I bought that, I was like, why are you even spend money on this?
Oh, you didn't need it, is what you're saying. So you've only bought one gun in your entire life, and you don't even really need it. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. That being said, okay, here's what I need to do. Okay, since you were in a scene where somebody was shot. Okay, multiple people were shot and killed. Okay. I need your.
Did you say they were shot?
Yeah. Yeah.
Next level. He says most times detectives ask questions that they already have the answers to or speculation. A lot of the times they ask questions they have the answer to because they want to see if you're going to contradict what the evidence points to. Right? Because if the evidence is pointing to, yes, you do have a gun, or yes, you do have this, that, or yes, you did talk to this person, and you go against that, now you're lying. And you have to explain, and your lawyers or whoever is going to try and defend you is going to have to explain why you contradict what the evidence says. And so in this case here, they're trying to catch him in a lie. I don't know exactly, just off the video, what they knew already when they were asking him. But yeah, they absolutely will ask you questions just to see if you'll lie about stuff that's not even part of the crime. Right? Because if you're willing to lie about where you were or where you got such and such thing that really has nothing to do directly with the crime and you're just lying to cover your tracks, that also is going to feed into the theory of why is he lying? Why is he lying? And so, yeah, he's definitely going to throw some of those things in there as well. Just more things to build up the contradictory statements that he's making right now. All right, let's continue. Good observation.
I mean, that's what we believe at this point. Okay? Who would do that?
But no one told me that.
I'm telling you right now.
They were shot?
That's what we believe. I don't know that 100%, but that's what we believe at this point.
Did someone go that bad?
I don't know. I wasn't there. That's why I'm trying to get you to help me figure out who did this.
Throughout the entire investigation, from the initial 911 call to the interrogation, Gurpreet Singh never clearly stated that the 4 victims in his apartment were dead. Instead, he repeatedly described them as merely bleeding, or at most, lifeless.
Sir? Yes, sir. Can I see my wife? Not right now, sir. It's okay. Okay, please tell me if she's okay. Is your wife one of the people that's in here? My wife, deceased. My mom, dad. Everybody inside's deceased. What is that? Dead. Okay. That's why it's very, very important for you to hold together and help me out so we can figure out what happened tonight, okay, Gary? I need you to be strong for me, Gary. Okay?
Interestingly, whenever detectives pressed him for more details about the victim's condition, Gurpreet would instantly divert the conversation by becoming overly emotional, claiming that he doesn't fully remember or begging detectives to help his children and asking about their well-being a total of 36 times throughout the interrogation. This was despite the fact that he himself had driven the children to their cousin's place earlier that same afternoon to watch movies and stay over. The gruesome nature of the crime scene, paired with inconsistencies in Gurpreet Singh's story, was more than enough to consider him a primary suspect.
This is called a gunshot residue evidence collection kit, okay? I need you to write your name right there for me. It says, and then I'll read it to you.
What is it?
This is a consent for me to take the swabs from your hand. Okay?
Okay.
All right. It says I, then put your name. And it says, have been informed by police officer. That's me. And I'm going to write my name right here. It's going to say Detective Randy Ferris on it, okay? It says, who made identification as a law enforcement officer of the Westchester Police Department of my constitutional right not to have a search made of the premises or property owned by me and or under my care, custody,
sir,
control.
Please.
Okay. You all right?
Oh, I want to go home. I want to go home. I want to be on care.
Okay.
Maybe they're in danger. I want to go home right now.
Have a seat for me, okay?
No.
No, we're going to talk some more, okay? And listen to me.
Why didn't anybody tell me they were shot?
Okay, listen. Okay, listen. I can't have you go home right now, okay? All right?
No.
Listen to me. I'm a police officer. I warn you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used in a court of law against you. That you have a right to consult with a lawyer before and during any questioning. Have a lawyer present with you while you're being questioned. And if you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you free before any questioning. That you may stop talking to me or any other police officer at any time during any question. Do you understand all your rights I have read to you?
Yes.
Okay. And the only reason I have to read these to you, do you understand these rights?
Yes, I do.
Do you wish to talk to us without a lawyer present?
No. Someone shot my family, my kids are alone, and I'm sitting stupid here.
Okay. I need you to put your name. Put your name right here.
Yes.
It's that I read it to you. Okay.
So this means I go to my.
You know, and this whole little panic attack he's having here is not because he's sad or concerned about what's happened. It's really because he realizes that his time is up. Yeah, he actually was able to kind of go a decent chunk of time without being held accountable. So it took some time, but once they did get all the data and evidence there, you know, they spoke to him, and yeah, he thought his words were going to work. Just kind of craziness.
Kids.
No, you're going to sit here for a minute.
No,
okay?
I want to go to my kids.
You got to sit here for a minute.
No.
Okay?
No, I want to go to my kids.
I'll be back.
You telling me now? And shooters out there. Oh my God. This is wrong. This is wrong. No one told me that this would happen. Everyone was saying like something happens. Really, man? I want to go to my kids. I want to go to my kids right now.
Or
No.
how can you stay here and
No,
hang out?
no. I want to go to my place right now.
I've been telling everything you wanted to ask me. Sir, please.
We are gonna get a search warrant for your hand.
No, get your search warrant. Come to me. Do
No,
whatever
you
you
have
want
to stay here.
Why?
Because I said so.
No. Why would I stay here? Sir, please. Okay, arrest me. Arrest me.
You're under detain. You're in
No,
custody
no,
right now.
no, I don't understand detain or whatever. He told me now that my family was shot. I thought it was an accident.
4 people died and you thought it was an
Yes.
accident?
I wasn't told anything. Look how you guys are getting in a position like I am some threat to you, right?
No, but you can't leave. You're not allowed to leave.
Okay, I'm not giving you anything unless I have my lawyer. Is that clear?
I understand. Have
That's
a seat.
it. You bring your search warrant, you bring FBI, you bring your army on me, I'm not giving you anything.
The situation escalated when officers noticed a suspicious stain on the left sleeve of Gurpreet Singh's clothing. They chose to detain him for further investigation, to which Singh objected, promptly demanding a lawyer. Later, DNA testing confirmed that the stain was blood, specifically the blood of his wife, Shalinderjit Kaur.
All right, Gary, we have that search warrant. You can go ahead and read it.
Okay, what am I supposed to do now?
We're just letting you know we're gonna do this.
But
And the judge authorizes us to do it.
So, do I get to go after this?
Well, we got some few other things we gotta do. Go ahead and read that. That will explain to you what we're gonna do.
What does it say? I don't understand half of it.
So this is a search warrant, okay? It authorizes us to search for and collect the items that are listed here, okay?
And I don't get to, when do I get to get my side in front of the judge?
You're like I told you, you're not under arrest.
Then why am I being treated like I am?
Because there's time-sensitive, possible trace evidence on you that we need to collect. And without your consent to collect it, we had to get a search warrant, which means you were free to go. Okay?
So am I free to go?
Not right now, not
When?
until we're done.
When?
When we're done issuing everything in that search warrant.
Okay. So I give you all this and then I go home.
At this point, yeah.
Now I gotta use your bathroom real quick.
Well, we have to do this first.
Yeah, can't do that.
See, I just wanted to do this just to see how you react, because you're thinking that I'm just gonna wash my hands away, right?
I need your right hand.
Although Singh denied firing a weapon or coming into contact with one, gunshot residue was detected.
I don't get why he would make that joke. Like, it's not helping you look innocent at all. Actually, he's making you look really guilty. So I don't know why he would make that joke. But he thought he was slick for sure. At first, he definitely thought he was slick. Guys, do me a favor. As you're coming in, hit the like button for me. I'm seeing lots of people coming in and out. Just do me that favor. It's free. Hit the like.
Detected on both of his hands. While this initially seemed incriminating, investigators found his Beretta handgun loaded and stored away in his closet, seemingly untouched, raising more questions on who actually pulled the trigger.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
You hanging in there?
Yeah.
Trying? Okay.
I'm being treated like I'm the criminal.
No, absolutely not. So a lot of times when...
I understand, sir. Thank you.
Well,
I don't want to be rude, but...
You're not being rude.
I even asked him if I could go with your officer for 5 minutes, see my kids, and come right back with the officer.
Yeah.
He wouldn't even allow me, but that's fine.
It's more rapidly we can get that thing take care of it, we can take care of it.
Yes, sir.
Unbeknownst to Singh, a strong case was quietly building against him. Forensic evidence and neighbour testimonies began pointing towards his possible involvement. Experts concluded that all 16 bullets had been fired from the same 9mm handgun, a modified Ruger SR9, which was eventually recovered from a pond near the apartment complex. Coincidentally, a neighbour reported seeing a hooded figure fleeing towards that very pond around 9:20 p.m, just minutes after other residents testified to hearing what sounded like gunshots. Law enforcement found more and more evidence. However, there was no direct forensic link to Gurpreet Singh, the hoodie, or other clothing that was never recovered, and even the murder weapon that was actually found had its serial number scratched off and showed no traces of blood or DNA. Before Gurpreet Singh left the interview room, police read him his Miranda rights and swabbed his hands, fingernails and clothing for forensic evidence. When detectives attempted to continue questioning, Singh demanded a lawyer and refused further cooperation. Despite visible blood on his socks and clothing, he was released just hours after the interrogation.
Just received this dash camera video of the moment Connecticut police arrested the man accused of killing 4 people in Westchester Township. Come, walk in! Walk in! Walk in! Walk in! That is the moment you just saw there of police arresting Gurpreet Singh earlier this month. You can see he was outside what looks like a Walmart when police converged on him and got him on the ground. Singh is charged with killing 4 people, his wife, mother and father-in-law, and his aunt back in April.
More than 3 months after the April 28, 2019 killings, Gurpreet Singh was arrested on July 31st by Bramford Police in Connecticut, charging him with 4 counts of aggravated murder. In October 2022, Gurpreet Singh's first trial ended in a hung jury after about 14 hours of deliberation. Despite weeks of testimony, jurors could not reach a unanimous decision, forcing the judge to declare a mistrial. More than a year later, in November 2023, Gurpreet Singh opted for a bench trial, placing his fate in the hands of 3 judges rather than a jury. His defense pointed to a land mafia in India, claiming family poverty disputes were the true motive behind the killings, while judges focused on the actual evidence, pointing to a cold and carefully executed murder spree. On May 10, 2024, after just 3 hours of deliberation, the panel found Gurpreet Singh guilty on all counts and sentenced him to death, with an execution date set for November 27, 2024, which was not carried out due to legal appeals. Singh remains on death row, though chances are slim that he will ever be executed. He is currently held at Butler County Jail and is scheduled to be transferred to Ross Correctional Institution near Chillicothe, Ohio.
Sorry guys, sorry. Some of these videos start so quickly. I mean, it's just crazy to me how, like, first of all, he gets to continue to be a stain on society. We have to pay for him. He gets to keep his lazy butt in there, and we all know what he did. You know, we need to bring back these other systems of dealing with these types of evil people. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed that stream. I know it was a little triggering, but yeah, he should have definitely gotten a divorce. You know, he was sending money to a woman. They spent a little tiny bit of time on that, but he sent $20,000 to another woman. So yeah, it's very minuscule, egotistical things that is driving some of these men to go and do these wicked things to their families. It really is. All right, guys. I might do one more, and then I'm gonna send you guys off. I did want to cover this one because this is something that popped up on my news feed on social media. A man was very upset with a woman when she decided to leave him, you know, for being violent and whatever, and all the typical disgusting things that he was. He decided to attack. He decided to attack the family when she wanted to leave. So I'm going to put this one up here because it was based off of a GoFundMe that I read. And I had a link to the actual story. Let me just put the GoFundMe up so you guys can see the family that this happened to. Now, this was so devastating for me to read about because I was just like, why would he do all that? You know, like, why would he go so far to take the lives of young children, you know, that had nothing to do with it, and then decide to spare the mom because he wanted her to suffer. He wanted her to be in pain. Like, just really sick. Yeah, definitely a huge waste of tax money, right? We're the ones paying for these people to stay in these prisons. But yep, just ridiculous. Melly said, I like your sign. Yes, no weenies allowed. You know, weenies always come and they make us stink. So that's why they're not allowed. But you know, this case was just incredibly disturbing. All right, so I'm just gonna read a little bit from the GoFundMe that talks about this case. So this is Carrie Green, and she's the mother to Raven Broski and grandmother to Ren and August. All right, these are the two victims here, little babies. All right. On the night of November 19th, 2025, our family experienced a tragedy beyond anything we could have imagined. Raven's children, Ren and August, who were 7 and 7 months old, were taken from us in a horrific act of domestic violence. Our hearts are shattered. No mother should ever have to endure this. Raven is now facing the overwhelming reality of bearing her children and beginning the long, painful journey of healing. She will need extensive trauma and mental health support, will be unable to return to work for the foreseeable future. I mean, that's just the basics of what this family is suffering. You know, and it's great. They raised a lot of money to help this family, but that does not fill the hole. All right, beautiful children, 7 and 7 months old. This case was truly tragic to me. All right, so I'm gonna try and pull up the story because the link that I had is not bringing me to the right news article. Hold on, guys. There's one. Because Dustin was the guy that was killed as well. Because Dustin was her boyfriend. Or not boyfriend, her other child's father that was helping her move out of the home that she shared with this abusive partner. Alright, so just give me a second. I'm just trying to pull up. Because I don't have the right links. I thought I did. But I don't seem to have the right links here. And you know, the crazy part is the perpetrator, her ex, decided to delete out all these people, the two babies, her other children's father, because she had an older kid, and then himself. You know, so leaving her with this unimaginable trauma, and also taking everyone from her. You know. All right, give me 1 second. So I'm over here struggling. Okay, here we go. So there's very few news articles on this. I noticed, like direct news. Ooh, wow, played myself. Hold on, guys. These tabs are a mess. But what I noticed is it was kind of hard at first to find news articles about this case. You know, it's very recent. It popped up on my social media. So meaning I just kind of saw it online, and it just kind of became like one of these trending stories. So let me put it up. Yeah, it's horrible. At first, I really didn't like at all hearing about this. It was really tragic to think that somebody chose to delete someone, kids of that age, you know, to even do that just to get back at somebody, you know, and then take yourself out in the end so that you don't have to face consequences. Just really, it's diabolical. All right, let's get into this one.
Now, with breaking news.
We are continuing to follow that horrific tragedy in Tiffin. 4 people, including 2 children, shot and killed in what police are calling a murder-suicide. Officers responded to a home on Huss Street about 6:30 last night for reports of gunshots and screaming.
Police say the killings happened while the mother of the children was removing belongings from the home following domestic issues. 13 Action News reporter Alexis Means talking with the former boss of the man who was shot and killed. 29-year-old Dustin Willie. And she joins us live from Tiffin tonight. Alexis?
Well, friends and family say that Dustin Willie poured his heart into being a dad and he would help anyone. And that's what he was doing yesterday as he tried to help his son's mother.
We're all just kind of trying to process it, especially that it happened to children is even worse.
Family and friends are in shock of the tragic murders of 29-year-old Dustin Willie and his 7-year-old son, Ren Willie. Tiffin police say they were shot and killed along with Ren's 7-month-old brother during a domestic dispute on Wednesday at this house on Huss. The mother of the kids called 911.
It's reports of shots fired, female screaming, a report of her children being dead. All units respond.
Police say the gunman, Ryan Egan, is the mother's husband and the father of the 7-month-old. Police say the children's mother was trying to move out of the home with the help of her 7-year-old son's father, Dustin Willie. The mother thought her husband was out of town, but investigators say Egan came home, pushed his wife out of the way, went after Willie, shooting him. Then, according to police, shot both children before turning the gun on himself. Kelly Gallagher works at the Depot Pizza and Tavern. She says Dustin worked for her off and on since he was a teen. She told me she saw him on Sunday when he came to pick up pizzas for his 7-year-old son's birthday party.
He loved Ren. He was a good father. He would do anything for that boy. And he just showed what it's like to be a single dad and that he was going to be a part of his life, and he did a lot with him.
And she says Ren loved being a big brother. She says she received a call from an employee about the murder-suicide.
It's tragic because it's especially when you find out it's happened to somebody who's got the biggest heart, is the kindest person, would do anything for anybody. So yeah, it's like losing kind of like losing a family member.
And the mother of these kids was not injured, but she witnessed the unthinkable, her 2 kids dying in her arms. Sasham, back to you.
Yeah, just incredibly, incredibly tragic, honestly. Just terrible. That's what she has to live with. And she's, this is a holiday that she's going to spend without her children. She's going to be in pain. She's also lost the father of her children. And that's a very, very, very sad thing. When we talk about who the victims are, a lot of the times, we don't realize all these other elements where someone can just be there helping, lending a hand to somebody, right? Just be in the proximity of somebody who's in an abusive situation and end up with their life cut short. Just incredibly tragic. So, all right, guys, I am going to send y'all off. I am exhausted. I would like to go watch some movies and sleep. So thank you all for joining me for some crime time tonight. I would like to do a few more like this Sundays. Sorry, not Sundays. Friday nights. Just kind of like a late night show that's like a topic of trending crimes. Obviously, family annihilation isn't a common crime, but when it happens, it's insane. All right, so this was one of the recent ones that happened here. So thank you all for joining me. I'm going to send you guys off with some music. And if you could do me, if you haven't already, the favor of hitting the like button, subscribing, and sharing the stream, I'll appreciate it. McAdam Murphy said, sad she went from a good guy to that. Yeah, and the good guy got caught in it as well. That's the really tragic part, is that the good guy was just there to be a father. He was just there to raise his kid. And, because he wanted to help this woman, ended up being the victim of a vindictive individual to do what he did. All right. So anyways, thank you all so much for joining me. I appreciate your company in the show, for hitting the like button and sharing, for your commentary tonight. So I'll send you guys all off with some music. And again, if you haven't done so, if you could do me the favor of hitting the like button, I'll appreciate you so, so much. See you on the next one.
Florabella on my screen. Her smile, it shines so bright. She's a queen with every scene. In the morning or the night, recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Recipes and good vibes flow. Every video a gem. Her confidence, it grows and grows. We're inspired like her friends. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains so strong. Her spirit always glows. She's where we all belong. With every like and every share, we feel her energy. No storm too strong, she can't bear. She's setting us all free. Unstoppable Flora, she's got that power. Spreading her aura, blossoming like a flower. Through the highs and all the lows, she remains